Hey, gang. Don't know if anybody is in here just yet. My camera looks kind of weird. I hope it didn't look weird on it for anybody else that may be watching. Looks like we got one person in here. Hopefully, I should have Candace joining me here in just a sec. I know she was making some. Hey, Ginger. Thank you for calling me a gutsy lady, Ginger. A lot of times I don't feel so gutsy, but I see Candace backstage, so I'm going to make my little obligatory intro kind of quick because we've got an over 2 hour movie coming up with the Clockwork Orange. Me and Candace are going to be discussing all things Malcolm McDowell and Clockwork Orange here tonight, so be ready. Um, Well, I don't lead a very exciting life, Ginger, but I'm glad you do enjoy um, the lives that I do. So, um, I think Candace is eating her chicken tacos there. She's shaking her head. Yeah. You haven't seen this flick in decades. It's not been that long for me, but it's been a little bit since I've watched it. But for all the violence and the rape and all, I don't want to say that word too much, but for all of that that's in the movie is really well made, really well made, and I think Kubrick did a really good job with it. And you know, I think the movie brought to life the book, which the book was hard to get through, guys and gals. And the main reason why the book was hard to get through, and I read it, years and years ago, was the slang that's used in it. That's basically was created by the author, and so much of it was used in the book that he had to put a glossary in the book of what you might be reading, and you think, what in the world are they talking about here? um hey, TCCK. I might call you TCK because that doing two C's in a row might trip me up there. Oh, thank you, Ginger. Not too many people tell me that. People close to me, like Candace and my husband Steve, and other people that are real close to me say that. But not too many other people. But you say you are very authentic and have a great personality. Yeah, it's a tongue twister. That's right. Um, but I think that what Kubrick did is, I feel like Kubrick minimized a little bit on the slang. He had a little bit of it in there, but it wasn't overpowering to the film. And also, we had visuals to go along with things. So, anyways, we're going to get to that here in just a sec. But I have an announcement to make, and Candace probably already knows about this if she listened to all my messages, if she had time to listen to my long messages I sent to her earlier. Um, this is not bragging. This is merely sharing a little information and also promoting an event that's coming up in September, that I feel like I should do, since I've been granted access to something that not everybody gets. So it's definitely not bragging. I was as shocked as anybody that I got approved for this. Um, so Horror Hound Weekend in September. The big news is Mr. Robert England is going to be the guest of honor. But Slasher Fest is also going on that weekend. This takes place September 13th, 14th, and 15th of this year. And the big news is Robert England, but Heather Langenkamp is also going to be there. Amanda Wiss or Amanda Weiss, however you pronounce her name. Ronnie Blakely, Tony Cecere, a lot of people involved with the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. Um, what would be, you know, ultra cool, but we won't ever get that sadly since Wes Craven has passed away. What would make it even cooler is if, you know, Wes Craven was still around and they could have gotten him. Um, but uh, I have been, well, Slasher Fest is going on too. So that means there's going to be a lot of other cool guests at this upcoming Horror Hound. And I want to talk about a little bit about Nathan, the guy that heads up this convention. I know you guys and gals have probably heard Chris talk quite a bit about Nathan Hanneman. Um, but Nathan is probably one of the nicest guys in the convention, horror convention industry. Hands down, one of the nicest guys. Because if you see him around at the convention, if he's got time, he will talk to you. And this guy's a busy guy. You know, all the planning and stuff. This is a year-round thing that these people have to do, these promoters for these different conventions. And I guarantee that Nathan works hard. He works his butt off doing this. I mean, anybody that, for instance, could get the type of guest that he's got for this upcoming show has to work their butt off. I don't know how the man sleeps, honestly. Maybe he doesn't get any sleep. I don't know, but he's doing better than me if he goes on no sleep. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of promote Horror Hound, and I'll continue to do that. I'm really excited about this show. A lot of the Horror Hound shows are excellent shows. But this one holds a special place in my heart because I'm finally going to meet Robert England. You know, that's my bucket. That's one of my bucket list guys. So anyway, to get to what I was saying, I have gained access or gotten approval for. I don't ask me how I did this. I don't know. I just applied for it and I didn't expect anything to come out of it. And I had forgotten about it. So the 31st of July, I received an email from Horror Hound Weekend saying that I had been approved for press passes for Horror Hound Weekend. So me and Steve will have press passes to get into the show. Candace is she's doing her little dance behind the screen there. So we've got press passes. What in the heck? Steve stuck something in front of my face. I was like, "What are you doing?" And I think it was his Intrepido Punks, which is I think a Spanish or Mexican. I don't know. I guess an exploitation film. It's not really a horror film. But anyway, we've got press passes, which means that we'll get to walk around with the little, I guess, the little lanyards that say press on them or whatever they have on there. So I'm happy to announce that I will be listed as press if you see me walking around Horror Hound and you're at Horror Hound. But thank you, Phil, for saying congratulations, Dana and Steve. But I'm really, I'm even more excited about it now. I don't know. Maybe I could ask Candace or Chris about this. If it doesn't mean anything about the Q&As, if you don't get to sit at a certain spot at the Q&As, that's fine. I was kind of wondering if press got to do that or not. You are not guaranteed interviews with any particular celebrity. You're supposed to make those arrangements on your own. Horror Hound does ask that if you do make arrangements with the celebrity or their management to have an interview, that it doesn't conflict with, a Q&A they've got or a photo op they've got or autograph signing. You can't, just because you're press doesn't mean you can just take over. you got to be, polite and, recognize that this is a horror convention and they have these people scheduled for certain times to do certain things. And you can't just say, well, I'm press. I get to go and do whatever I want. No, you don't get to do that. You don't get that much power. But it does enable you to get into the convention for free, which, kind of frees up money that you can use for other things. Steve said, well, you've already bought tickets, Dana. And I said, I know I did, but as long as they have our press passes there might be somebody on Saturday that would want to buy my tickets at a slightly discounted price. I would sell them to them for a little bit cheaper than I bought them for. And that way they could get in on Saturday and attend the convention. I've got 2 passes. So, um, I don't want to get rid of them right now, just in the off chance that I get there and they say, well, we don't have any press passes for you because, mess ups can happen. Steve said, don't leave home without your tickets. I said, I'm not going to leave home without the tickets, just to be on the safe side. But anyway, just wanted to throw that out there before we get started. TC Gaming, you say, no way. I almost met Robert at a convention, but he had to cancel. Oh, man, that's a bummer. Like, I've had people have to cancel too that I really wanted to meet. I think Sam Raimi had to at one time. Ted Raimi's had to cancel before. There have been people. Dario Argento had to cancel in the past, which was a bummer because Dario Argento is one that's on both me and Steve's bucket list. When opportunity knocks, answer the door. That's right, Ginger. That's something that I need to learn. Sadly, I have not quite learned that yet. And thank you, Ginger. You say I'm so excited for you guys. I'm excited for me too, and I'm excited for Steve. But speaking of Dario Argento, before we get started, I had totally forgotten that I was going to do Argento August. So starting next week, there's going to be a lot of Argento programming coming up. Okay. So I'm probably going to go ahead and do Landis Confidential on Monday because I know Chris really, and maybe Candace too, really wants to do that with me. But probably after that, there's going to be some changes in the programming. There may not be, and Everybody Wants England. We'll do quite a bit of Argento stuff this month, including some Argento watch-alongs. So be sure to tune in for all of that. Well, actually, Abracious, that is not my Thriller A Cruel Picture poster. That is my husband's. But I do like that movie, even with all the violence and stuff in it. I have watched that movie. So thank you. I will tell my husband that you really like that. So without further ado, now that I blab forever and ever, I'm going to get Candace on here so we can get this movie started in a few minutes here. Hey, Candace.
Hey, Dana. Hey, everybody. I scarfed down those tacos so that I wouldn't be eating on camera. That was my dinner. I was starved to death. I said, I got to eat before I start watching this. But I just wanted to comment. I didn't get to listen to your messages that you sent me. So I didn't know. But I'm happy that you got those. And all I can see is you and Steve in the background, like going through Horror Hound with your passes like Wayne and Garth one. Hey? Showing holding them out and showing everybody like Wayne and Garth. That's what you should do. That'd be awesome. No, but that's really cool. I'm really happy that you got that.
I'm going to try to get a picture of me and Steve. Maybe Candace will take a picture of us or something holding our press passes out just for the heck of it.
Yeah.
Where's your plug for this?
No, it's got batteries in it, hon.
Oh, I see.
It's backwards, dear.
Oh.
He's trying to turn on my Hellfire Club lamp. I keep forgetting to turn that thing on. So thank you, dear. I appreciate it.
And then said that this is signed by Christina Lindbergh.
Yeah, Bracious Steve says that's signed by Christina Lindbergh. I had forgotten. Yeah, he did get that signed by her.
Seems like Chris got something signed. She was at a Horror Hound, right? Was it a Horror Hound that she was at?
Steve, was she at a Horror Hound?
Is it a Horror Hound or
was Christina Lindbergh at a Horror Hound?
She was at a Cinema Wasteland. I don't know.
Cinema Wasteland? Okay.
That's probably what it was.
Yeah, he said Cinema Wasteland. I couldn't remember.
I've been to so many, just like how you have. I mean, they just all start running in together. You can't remember where you've been and who you've seen. What Chris can remember that stuff. I can't.
Some of the stuff I can remember. Some of it I just like. It all runs into one thing.
That's how it is for me.
Ginger says 10 folks watching. Let's show Dana and Candace some love and thumbs up. Yeah, we did. We do have 10 people. That's awesome. Must be people wanting to watch Clockwork Orange with us tonight, or I hope anyway. But I'll let everybody know where I am queued up to. I'm not watching this in 4K because I don't have the ability to watch it in 4K back here. But I am watching the Blu-ray. This is the 50th anniversary version, and I am queued up to, hold on a sec here, to where it's got the red screen and it says Warner Brothers, a Kenny Company presents.
Mine is on a red screen, and I don't know how to stop it or start it. Chris has got it on his Voodoo, and I don't even see the play button or anything. So I guess I just push play whenever. I'm sure that we'll link up.
Yeah, well, I can wait until yours says Warner Brothers, and then I can hit play on mine.
Okay. I don't even see how I would turn the volume up and down or anything.
Oh, really? That you said it was Voodoo, Candace?
Yeah, let me test this out real quick, Dana, so I'll know, just in case it's got like actual volume to it. I don't want it to. Yeah, it does. Got volume. Chris may have to come in here and show me how to do this because I don't even see how I can turn this down.
Yeah, I've got mine muted and I've got the subtitles turned on mine.
I don't see anything. Let me click out of it and then maybe go back on it. Maybe I messed it up. Okay, let's see here. Let me click on it.
Phil, you say you probably live about 60 miles from Horror Hound. I guess that's not too awfully far, Phil. Are you planning on coming to the September show? If so, I hope we see you there. I ain't seen Phil in the flesh for a while.
Well. Dana, I am going to take myself out of the camera and mute it because it is playing, audio. I need to go get Chris so he can come in here and figure out how to turn this all the way down and all that good stuff. So I'll be right straight back.
All right. So I'll keep everybody, I'll try to keep everybody entertained while Candace is getting her audio situated and all that. So how many of you guys and gals are excited to be watching A Clockwork Orange tonight? Because I'm actually excited about watching it again. Like I said, it's been a bit since I watched it last. Ginger, you say, my dream is one day maybe Roddy McDowall will give me makeup tips. I always thought, even though Malcolm McDowell's character is so reprehensible in the beginning parts of this movie, I thought he was so cute in it. I thought he was good looking in this. And he was young too. Phil, you say as of now, we'll say no, but I will look into it. It would be fun to hang with you and Steve. Yeah, I'd love to see you again, Phil. I mean, it's been nice. We've been talking back and forth through Messenger and stuff, but like I said, I haven't seen you in the flesh in a long, long time. You meant Malcolm? Okay, I thought that's what you meant, Ginger, but um, if you could meet up with Roddy McDowell from the other side, that would be awesome too. But I was trying to think. Oh, I have been making apple butter today, folks. I don't know how many of you guys and gals have, I say guys and gals because guys can bake and make apple butter and all that stuff as well as the ladies can. And so I had never made homemade apple butter, and I was looking up recipes. I was like, I wonder if you could make apple butter in the Instapot, and you can. Um, you definitely can make apple butter in the Instapot, and I have mine simmering now or slow cooking now, and it should be done in less than an hour. Hi, Steve. Steve's waving. He's got the pink hand waving, the little emoji there. Um, but anyway, hopefully, I'm going to get to have some homemade apple butter with homemade biscuits.
All right, Dana, I got it. You're making me hungry for apple butter.
Yeah, I'm making homemade apple butter today.
I was just eating. I still want some. But Chris showed me what to do. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, Ginger says she loves apple butter.
Oh, I do too.
A lot of people do, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Homemade biscuits.
Yeah, Steve don't like homemade biscuits. Do you believe that, Candace?
Really?
Yeah.
To each their own, but I love them.
You can go ahead and say he's weird. I say he's weird for not liking homemade biscuits.
But I've got mine queued up to the Warner Brothers.
Warner. Okay, great. So, you maybe do hear a TC. You probably do hear a critter in the background because I have 5 dogs.
I got 2 dogs in my room.
And Candace has got them too. So, zucchini bread and banana bread. Mm-hmm. That sounds delicious, Ginger.
That does sound good.
Oh, dang, Phil. Phil said, I was wrong. Harhound Cincinnati is about 3 hours. Harhound Indy is about 60. Yeah.
I guess Cincinnati is probably 3 or 4 hours. I think 4 hours away from us.
I can't remember how, maybe a couple hours, 2.5 hours from us.
Because you're like 2 hours away from where I live. And then it's like 2 more hours from Louisville, I think. Mm-hmm. Maybe 2 hours, hour and a half, something like that.
Yeah, I thought Steve told me it was something like 2.5 hours. I'd have to ask him. But anyway, we're gonna. I'll give everybody a couple more minutes to get. For those of you that are going to be watching along with us tonight. If you're not, you can still hang out in here and listen to us talk about the movie and chat in the chat. Nobody says that, you have to get out if you're not watching the movie because not everybody might not have this movie or they might not have a way to watch it for free. Yeah. And I'm not going to ask people to say, well, just go rent it or something. I'm not going to say to do that. But if you have a copy of the movie and you are able to watch it with us, I'll give everybody a couple of minutes to get queued up to the red screen with Warner Brothers, a Kenny Company presents, and then we'll go ahead and we'll get started here in a couple of minutes.
I'm excited about this one. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. It definitely is. I absolutely love it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that says about me, but
I like it really well too. But Candace, did I ever tell you about the time I was watching it? And this is when I was still living with Mom and Dad. and my dad came walking through the living room right at the time where Alex picks up the two girls in the record shop, and you know
Oh,
what happens after
yeah, the fast forwarded.
my dad.
Well, at
I
least
was
it was in
so
fast mode, Dana, and not something that.
I was mortified because Dad came in there and I didn't even have time to pause it. He stood there and he looked at it for a couple of minutes and then he said, Dana, what in the world is this movie? And he's forever said that this is that stupid orange movie.
Oh my gosh, Dana. Well, my dad, he must have grew because my dad grew up in the 70s and 80s.
Mhm.
And my oldest uncle Bobby must have watched it sometime in their like teenage years or something like that where he had seen it.
Mhm.
And my dad always talked about it. I don't think he ever watched it, but he just seen the part with the statue.
Oh
You
yeah.
know what I'm talking about. And he would say, "It's that," and I'm not gonna say what my dad said. He would just say, "It's that movie where he rides around on a big, you know what." So whenever I was, um, really, really, really into the movie at the beginning, when I first really discovered it and watched it for the first time, and I really got into it, I was painting like pictures of it and doing all kinds of like digital art of it and stuff like that. You probably remember seeing some of that stuff. And my
Mhm.
dad, he would come around, "Is that movie that's got," just say that, and I'd be like, "Dad, it's more than that, okay?"
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
but my dad, he just saw that one scene and he never liked that movie from then on out. He's like, "Why in the world do you like that movie?" Um,
It's like they've never seen anything bad before. Your parents always act like they ain't never watched anything bad. You know what I
right.
mean? That's what
Yeah.
my dad always act like, and I knew he watched stuff that wasn't.
But my dad also, I introduced my parents to Basket Case, the Frank Henenlotter film. And when that one was over, Dad again, he looked at me. He said, Dana, that was the stupidest movie I've ever seen in my life. My mom kind of liked it. She kind of enjoyed it on the level that I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But Dad, he was like, that movie is stupid.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
Ginger says she grew up in the 70s and 80s. Mom and dad, mainly, they grew up in the 70s. The 70s
Yeah.
was their time.
My
Uh,
dad was born in '68, so he was really little in the '70s, and then kind of they had me in the mid '80s. So
so
they
your
wouldn't.
dad was a year older than Steve because Steve was born
Mhm.
in 69.
Yeah, yeah. Born in '68, both my parents were. So they had me in mid '80s. They had me in '86. So just flip '68 around. There you go.
Yeah, that's strange, isn't it? Or unique,
Yeah.
I guess. But I guess, because this is an over 2 hour long movie, so I guess we'll go ahead and do the countdown and get started here. So I'll do my 3, 2, 1, and we'll hit play. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, press play. And hopefully mine won't freeze up. Like, I know I did commentaries with or watch alongs with Chris before, and like all of a sudden it'll just skip back to the beginning
Yeah.
or something crazy like that. And
Mine always gets behind. I don't understand it. Like, it'll have no commercials in it, and it's the same, like version or whatever, but mine always gets behind. I don't know if it's something.
mhm.
I don't know what causes that. There's the classic look.
Yeah, that's that classic image of Alex, played by Malcolm
And
McDowell, with the eyelashes
yeah,
and
that's when I fell in love with him. Not the character, but the actor. I just
right, right. Malcolm McDowell he's good looking in this. I ain't even gonna lie about it. He's a bad character in
there's
the
Drew.
majority of this, but yeah.
Yeah.
This is some of the weirdest stuff, but
hmm
this is Candace, is this what you would call mod? Some of this stuff
Yeah.
is that mod
Mod. Yeah. Mod.
designs.
Yeah. It's a lot of pop art type stuff. This is the milk bar that they're at, and they get this milk that's laced with all these drugs that you see here. Malaco, what is it? Synthemesic or something like
Something like that.
Malaco Velocet. But yeah,
Corova milk bar.
Corova milk bar. So it's got some pretty questionable statues.
Those statues, the women's statues, have THO,
Yeah.
as Steve would say.
And then just right off the bat, it just shows you what, Alex and his Drews, just how cruel that they are and how warped they are. They're this gang that goes around just, violating innocent people who don't deserve to be violated, So, kind of, it starts off strong, really, for a lot of people, I think.
It pulls no punches for something that starts out this violent, this early on in a film.
But that was needed to, set the tone for the rest of the film. And then, I love this shot where it shows their shadows because you know that trouble is coming. You see these group of men just coming out of the light into a dark tunnel. So they're just like classic bullies, but that's taken to another level. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because this guy is really an innocent. He didn't do anything to these guys.
They're just wanting to be mean to people and bully people and hurt people. It's more than bullying. They actually want to hurt people. And Alex, he's the head guy, of this gang. And you can just really tell how they are with the cufflinks, the eyeball cufflinks, and but I love the you was talking about like the language in this. That was one of the things that I really enjoyed about that. I enjoyed that kind of, I guess lingo that's in the film and in the book and stuff. And they're just like beating the crap out of this innocent
they're just
hobo, I guess you'd call him.
Bum, hobo. Some people might just call him a drunk or And you will also see many people that were in The Shining.
Yeah. And they are, is this Billy Boy in Poison?
I think so.
It's Billy Boy and his droogs. So the Billy Boy and his droogs too, they're an opposite gang. They kind of, fight with Alex, and they're just doing something very, I don't know, kind of have to tiptoe how we say this, but not very nice to somebody in this old theater, it looks like.
I mean, these have to be some brave women too, these actresses that were in these scenes.
This is not like, nudity just from the waist up. This is like full frontal, nudity and noodle. Noodle. But, they really had to like fight while they're, like that and stuff. So yeah, I agree, Dana. So here comes
and two, this is like it goes from one violent scene to another violent scene with not even a chance to take a breath, really.
No, it's very, very and I just love the way they talk to each other and stuff. Yarbles. You know what that's probably lingo for, don't you?
Yeah. That was one of the things I was saying earlier too. That I read the book too.
See, I've not read the book. I need to read it.
The book was hard to get through because of that lingo. I liked the lingo, but I was constantly going to the glossary to see, okay, what are they
Yeah.
referring to here? Some of the stuff you could figure out, but by Kubrick putting this visually on the
Yeah.
screen, you don't have to guess.
No, you don't. It makes it easier, and it's probably best to watch the film
Mhm.
before you watch or read the book, because it could help you, maybe not all the lingo, but it can help you maybe get through it easier.
Right.
I don't know. It's just, to me, I remember the first time watching this film, and I was just drawn to it because it is so artsy. And I know that some people don't like that word, but to me, I love it. And here they are in their old uh, Durango, I guess. And they're zooming through, looks like they're going 100 miles.
It does. It looks like they're going 100 miles an hour through some kind of back roads of Kentucky is what it looks
Yeah,
like.
that's what it looks like up in the hills of Kentucky. But if anybody likes Rob Zombie, I don't know what they do, but he does a song where he talks about it's kind of, never
Yeah.
going to stop me, and he talks about my Durango number 95, and he talks about, he uses like the ultra violence, and I
Right.
always like that song. I actually had heard the song and seen the video before I ever watched the movie, and then I remember watching the movie and putting two together and thinking, "Oh, that's Clockwork Orange."
Mhm. Hey, Slipknot fan, and hey, Dawson. Dawson, I believe, is a new person in here.
Oh, Alex, Malcolm McDowell, he really had that look. I think he just really encapsulated that character.
Yeah, I think
I
so
think
too.
that he did really, really well. I mean, he looked sadistic. You know what I mean?
And here's something else I like that people might think is kind of corny, but when he gets to his home, we
Yeah,
have that sign there that's lit up that says home.
yeah. I mean, they just go around just looking for trouble all the time. And that's
Mm-hmm.
such a weird car, too. It
Yeah,
looks
it
almost like a
almost
spaceship.
looks. It looks futuristic.
It does, yeah. So this is a house that they're planning on attacking, and
And even this house looks like a
it
piece of
does.
artwork, the architecture of the house.
And, if you've never seen this before, this scene sets up later scenes, sets
Yes.
up later, stuff. And it makes you mad. I mean, it really does for these people. But this is definitely mod like type
Mhm.
style and stuff. I love it. I love like that style.
I love all that wood in that house
And the
too.
mirrors, and that's what makes it even more like whenever this scene is taking place, um it makes it even more chilling. I think it's just the way the house looks and stuff. It's like you don't picture something like that happening in this kind of environment. And I don't know why. I have no idea why, but this scene always reminds me of like the Manson, like the Tate murders, and
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know why, but it's just I don't know if pictures from that, because I've looked up on stuff and read stuff on it and seen pictures and stuff. I don't know if it kind of reminds me of this or
I hadn't thought of that, Candace, but you mentioned that. Yeah, the attack on Sharon Tate and the people that were staying with her at the time. Yeah, I could definitely see similarities. I mean, it's a little bit different in the way that they are attacking,
Mhm.
but the the way that they barge into the house and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and this is just, it's so vicious.
And then he takes this song, Singing in the Rain, which comes into play later on in the
Yeah.
film, and he just dancing and kicking them and just doing these horrendous acts while reenacting like this, Gene Kelly,
Yeah.
dancing in the rain. And I mean, they're just doing horrendous things while this man watches his wife, them do things and
Yeah, and he can't do
can't
anything.
do anything about it. And they're destroying their home. And they got these crazy masks on. And Alex has that really famous mask that everybody's used to seeing when they think of the Clockwork Orange, where he's got the big long nose. And
Mhm.
and they're almost silly when you look at them. They look silly, but something so silly is so
That makes it
evil.
creepier, though, just
It
like
does.
the Singing in the Rain song.
Mm,
That's supposed to be an innocent,
it
happy song,
is.
and the awful things they're doing.
Yeah. And they're doing things to these people, like this woman that they're doing to her. Instead of just going and getting it over with, they're humiliating her. They're taking their time to do
Mhm.
things that are very, very violating. And they're violating her anyway. And I don't know if that's a word that I should be saying. I don't know how YouTube works with that, or they're
It
doing things.
would probably be safer saying that than the R
Yeah.
word.
Hmm.
I'm trying
Um,
to limit how much I say that word because
yeah.
YouTube doesn't like that word at all.
But just the
Uh,
shots of how this is shot and stuff, the camera angles, the just how it's like intensely up into their face. It's
yeah.
not pretty, but I think Stanley Kubrick really knew what he was doing whenever he did, was shooting this stuff. Now I always loved his style anyway.
Mm.
So, and here they are, just
And
sleazing.
they're all exhausted because you know what they've been doing, the awful things they've been doing to get
Mhm.
exhausted. It reminds me, I don't know if you've seen this movie or not, but it's Are You in the House Alone? It's based on a young adult novel of the
Mhm.
same name, and it stars Kathleen Beller in it, and she's really good in it. And oh gosh, I'm forgetting the actor's name. See, that's what happens to me sometimes is stuff just goes right out of my head.
And that's all I do that all the time,
It's
Dana.
not Kurt Russell, it's the other guy. Dang. But anyway, it's about a girl who, played by Kathleen Beller, who starts receiving menacing notes and menacing phone calls from somebody she knows who it is, but she doesn't know who it is.
Yeah.
It's somebody that goes to school with her that puts notes in her locker saying, I'm watching you. Um, and they eventually get to putting the R word across a picture of her.
Mm.
And she's telling everybody, I'm really getting scared about this. I don't know, I don't know what's going on. And so she's babysitting one night, and her best friend's boyfriend shows up at the door, and he says he thought Allison, his girlfriend, was supposed to be there. So
Mm.
she very innocently lets him in the door, and he attacks her and
Oh
violates
my
her.
goodness.
And when he is done, there's a scene where he raises up off of her and he's just sweating.
Mhm.
And it's one of the most gruesome
Yeah.
things. So when they come just exhausted from all the terrible things they've done, it reminds me
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah. And, and also, I mean, you see all this innocent stuff that Alex is, because, they had the funny mask. They, kind of look goofy and stuff like that. But, underneath they're really, really evil, sadistic people. But then, this woman, she's singing Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, and you find out that Alex has this really huge admiration for Beethoven. He loves Beethoven. He just, it's one of his favorite things in the whole wide world. And you're like, that's something that you wouldn't think, but it just shows, how sadistic somebody can be and also very normal in the same sense. Does that make any sense what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say?
Yeah. Makes perfect sense. Um, Phil, you asked if the movie is close to the novel. It's my recollection that it is, Phil, but also I would like to say that it's been a while since I read the novel. I've seen the movie a lot more times, so my thinking might be a little muddy on that. Um, and hey, David. David said, just like Mr. Sandman in Halloween, I love the juxtaposition of a children's song with a
Yeah.
gruesome situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes it all the more horrible.
Mhm.
If you have something very innocent in contrast to some violence going on in the screen. And
Mhm.
Phil says, I love the soundtrack by Walter and Wendy Carlos. I do too. And hey, and Andrew is new. He says, shit, I'm new to the party, but A Clockwork Orange is one of my favorite books and films. Well, welcome, Andrew. We're glad that you were able to join us today. And he's taking a pee. But
Yeah, he's going home, and you see that, his house is nice,
yeah,
but going into it is very, looks like there's been people that's been tearing it up and stuff, but the inside of the actual apartment is a nice apartment, but he lives with his mom and dad. Um,
and that picture he's got on the wall there,
yeah,
that artwork. And he's got a whole drawer full of things he's taken from people
yeah.
over time, including money.
Mhm.
And he does have a beautiful snake there. I will say that. Andrew, you say different ending to the novel. The movie sort of cuts it off short. Burgess didn't like Kubrick's adaptation, nor did Stephen King with Kubrick's The Shining. I think poor Kubrick had that happened to him more than once. Then
Yeah.
there's his Ludwig Beethoven picture there, and then we get a very sorry to laugh, but
Yeah.
the snake, the branch or whatever that the snake is on
Yeah.
is right there.
But you can really tell he's, like, really, really, like, obsessed with Ludwig von Beethoven, so he's just, like, and that's gonna come into play too.
Mhm.
And just some really weird art, like this Jesus art. I
Yeah, yeah, it's very
it
bizarre.
shows his warped sense, I think, of reality, that he thinks that he can just go out and just take what he wants, do
Mhm.
what he wants. And it's like this high, this thrill for him. I mean, he's always got this look on his face like he's
He reminds me of an exaggerated version of what we call entitled people. People
yeah.
that think that they can just do whatever they want.
That's, and I
This
think
is bizarre, but it's also great too.
oh
This
yeah, I always love this little scene. Um, he, I think he feels when it comes to Beethoven that Beethoven is um a powerful, like his music is powerful. So I
mm,
think that's the reason why he's obsessed with him, because I think that music makes him feel powerful. But here's his mom coming and waking him up, and she looks like that. There's a British show that I used to watch when I was a kid, and it's escaping my mind right now. But there was a lady that looked like that lady on that British show. It's like from the 70s, 60s or
uh-huh.
70s, and she's got purple hair, and they work in this department store. If anybody knows what it is and wants to remind me, let me know. But it was a. Did you ever watch British television growing up, Dana, or in the 90s or anything like that?
Um, some, but I can't remember a lot of it. I remember more British film than I do
Yeah.
British television.
Man, I wish I remember what that was called. I know it if I heard it, but she had purple hair like that, though. I always liked it.
And isn't the actor playing his dad? Isn't that Philip Stone? And he was in The Shining
Yeah,
as Grady, right?
yeah.
Phil says, was it Faulty Towers?
Faulty Towers, yeah. Let me see if that's the one. Is that the department store?
And Andrew says, yeah, and the novel is done through Alex's mind, and Kubrick used the Anthony Burgess made up language Nadsat. I think I got the spelling right, but the book is really unique with how it is told. And we're seeing him scratching his butt there.
Let's see.
I always find this humorous when the cops there to ask him.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Are you being served is what it was called.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that one
Yeah.
too.
Are you being served? But I watched Faulty Towers too. They had John Cleese in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a hotel or whatever that he managed. And I like this guy too. Just the way he's talking to him and all
You
that.
know
I
what?
can hear it in my head.
He reminds me of a British Columbo here because he know it's like he know you know how Columbo would always know who had did the crime.
Yeah,
But he always play like he didn't know.
Like he was dumb. Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of how this guy reminds me of, like if Columbo was British.
Yeah. I can see that.
Phil says, I grew up watching Monty Python and the Goodies on PBS. My brother got me into Monty Python. And
Chris
I
loves
just
Monty
absolutely
Python.
loved it. All I remember my brother telling me is, sharp, pointy teeth.
We got into Monty Python, but Chris loves it. But I used to watch all the other like British. There's another one I loved. See, that's why I cannot remember anything. Like I know
love Pink Panther stuff.
I mean, yeah. Well, I love the cartoon Pink Panther. I grew up. That was one of my favorite.
I liked the Peter Sellers, like him playing Inspector Clouseau, and that was just great.
Mr. Bean is that was one of my favorite shows of all time. And then Noah, whenever he got out, as a little kid, he absolutely became obsessed with Mr. Bean. And then Mr. Bean put out a cartoon and he got obsessed with it. And he still loves it. It's just one of those shows that he'll always love.
Oh, well, thank you, Andrew, for stopping by. He says, I got to run, but thanks for doing this. I'm a new subscriber, but I think we could chat about this stuff forever. Yeah, I hope you get to come back, Andrew, and you can watch the rest of this on the replay if you want to hear us finish talking about the movie.
We always enjoy new people coming by. Definitely. When I get the chance to be on here with Dana, it's been a hectic month, Dana, for me.
Yeah, I've had a few hiccups along the way too, but I think Candace and Chris have had it worse.
Honey, people don't even know. It's been a rough one, but you just keep on going, I guess.
Oh, that's false teeth in there, isn't
it? Yeah.
Pictures. Oh, gosh. I would hate to look down in the bottom of the glass and see somebody's dentures. Okay, so here it's the scene that my dad came walking through.
Yeah.
Oh.
He goes, he's looking at some vinyl records.
And they're sucking on those suckers or whatever. Or is it a
ice pops?
Yeah,
popsicles, I think. But he's walking around like he's regal, and
Yeah.
He goes over to these records. I've not seen this in a few years. It's been a while since I've seen it.
It's been a while for me too.
But I've seen it so many times, it's like burnt in my brain. It's like Beetlejuice. Like I've watched it so many times, I can actually sit down and probably from the beginning to the end just think about it. It would pop in my head. No, I probably couldn't do that with this. But
Oh, I just noticed something that I never
yeah,
saw before, the 2001.
yeah, yeah. I noticed that a long time ago. I seen that. I said, "Oh, that's a 2001 Space Odyssey."
Mhm.
There's probably even more like little Easter eggs that
Oh,
we.
I bet there are. And don't he say something to her like your ice pop or something that's bent or something? Doesn't
I
he
don't
say something
know.
to okay,
I'm not for sure.
I know he puts his mouth on one of them. He says, "Enjoying that, are you, my darling?" He says,
It's like a candy cane type
yeah.
of lollipop, not lollipop, but ice pop or whatever they are.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
it
he
is
says,
like
"What's
lollipop.
happened to yours, my little sister?" That's kinda gross, well, creepy for him to call her little sister, and then
Yeah.
if you've seen it and you know what's gonna happen.
Oh yeah. I think that was kind of lingo back then, though. Have you
To
ever heard that
call
song "Little Sister" by Elvis?
mhm.
I don't know if it is or not, but I just assumed that it was. And such a colorful place they are. Here it goes, Dana. That bed is so little. I don't know how he got both of them on there. Anyway,
No, I don't know.
see, it's at least it's fast forwarded. It's not like
Yeah,
slow
it could
mo
have been
or
a lot worse for my dad to come in and see this, but gang, I was absolutely mortified that my
I can
dad of all
imagine.
things, he would come in on this one.
I can imagine because even though it's a fast forwarded scene, it's I mean you can tell they're all completely in the birthday suits.
So
So
Andrew sent $5. So thank you,
oh
Andrew.
wow, thank
He
you.
says, "Lovely ladies, I love the accent. Greetings from Ontario." So we got another Canadian guy.
Yeah.
Uh, I'll be here. Take care. Right, my droogs. Thank you,
Thank
Andrew.
you. Um, yeah, so now the Droogs are down in the lobby of this apartment building that Alex lives in. And it kind of leads you to believe I've always because it never said why this place is such a mess. I always thought, well, did they do it?
I
Or
thought
did
maybe they trashed it just for
they
the heck of
trashed it and did all these like vulgar
it. They put
drawings?
drawings on the floor.
Or did like the Billy Boy and his Drews come and do that? Or I mean, you're left to believe, different things. I guess you can make up your own mind. I don't think it ever says.
Mm-mm.
It
If
may
it
in the book. I
moves
don't
kisses.
know.
It almost looks like it's kind of making fun. So I'm leaning towards they did that.
I'm thinking they did, yeah. Malcolm McDowell, he's got beautiful eyes, I think.
He does. He has some of the most beautiful eyes ever. They're just that crystal clear blue.
Yes, and they are in person. They're just like he looks just like that. His eyes are really, really crystal blue. I remember looking at when I met him, I was like, "Ooh." And
You
he's
could get
older, but
lost in those eyes, couldn't you?
he may be older, but he's still got those eyes.
Phil, you say you saw this movie for your 16th birthday? I
Wow.
bet that was a interesting 16th birthday.
Yeah. A really big eye opener too to things.
And see, this scene here shows that Alex can be mean and a bully to his own gang.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like earlier, he like hit one of them in the stomach whenever they were talking over that lady singing Beethoven's Ninth. It's the same one, same guy too. That he's Diem is his
And
name.
this guy, the other guy, kind of dares to go up against Alex here. He's like, don't be picking on Dim anymore.
He always picks on Diem, and I think that comes into play around
Mm.
the end of the movie. Without giving it away, if you've seen it, you know what I'm alluding to. So
We're seeing right here that the tide's starting to turn. That Alex may be losing his grip, his control a little bit,
and that is not good for him.
Mm-hmm.
Because when your cronies are starting to turn on you, when you are the self-appointed, I guess, leader of this group, do you think he looks kind of like a Jack Black kind of?
Yeah,
a little bit, kind of favors him a little bit.
Phil says he's 59 now. Well, you're still years young, Phil.
Yeah.
I mean, Steve's in his 50s, and he tells me about it all the time. I said, well, I'm 48, Steve. I'm getting close. I'm getting ever closer to 50. To be honest, I never thought I'd make it this long. When I was young, 48 seemed old.
Yeah, I know how you feel. I remember when my mom and dad were in their 30s, and I was thinking, oh, they're old. 30s ain't nothing. I'm heading into my 40s, and I'm thinking, man, I wish I was in my 30s, early 30s. It'll be here next, time I turn around, I'm sure.
My mom would tell me every time I reached a milestone, like when I was in my 20s, I said, oh my gosh, I'm in my 20s. And Mom said, wait till you're in your 40s, because there's like 20 years between me and my parents. And then when I was in my 30s, she was like, wait till you're in your 50s. And now I'm in my 40s. And she said, wait till you're in your 60s.
It's just every, I take it as it comes.
Mm-hmm. Now we're going to see something here too that is definitely going to come into play later.
Yeah. So many different. Yeah, this thing, because you kind of didn't see this really coming, but if you think about, if you've watched it more than once, then it's because Alex does not like to be, he doesn't like to be challenged in any way, and it just shows his want of control, and he knows that he's losing his grip on these people because they're starting to turn against him, and he's like, I'm gonna show them what for. And so these are his pals until they started challenging him,
and we can see that he pulled the knife out.
And like Dana said, this is going to be a big play in the coming time of the movie, towards the end, I guess is what you would say. Not really the end, but kind of around that way.
I always thought his mom was a little old for this job. I mean, I'm not trying to be like expressing ageism or anything like that. It's just, I would expect somebody just a little bit younger than her to be doing that job. But everybody's got to have a job, though.
Yeah.
And then he thinks he can just just smooth it all over.
In his mind, he's like, I've shown them what will happen if they, step out of line. So, now that I have, shown them, I have total control now, even more control than I had once before. And I think that's what he was kind of thinking in his head. But, as history sometimes shows, sometimes people, whenever they react that kind of way, it can backfire. I'm not saying it's going to backfire if you've never seen it, but I mean, kind of, it's what you're thinking in your head, you know what I mean?
And this goes for even regular people, not necessarily people that are in gangs or something. but it goes for you don't, you don't turn on people that have stood by you.
Yeah. Yeah. Even if they're the evil kind of
Yeah,
people. I
exactly.
mean,
Right.
but this is the scene that my dad always references.
She's
And
evidently one of those, and I'm not trying to be offensive to anybody that has a lot of cats, but she is what would be referred to now, especially as a crazy cat lady.
yeah, she loves cats, so she's doing her aerobics, I guess is what you would call it, and enjoying life with her cats, never thinking anything. So whenever it shows something like this in this film, that something is coming.
Yeah.
But look at her art. A lot of,
Mhm.
I'm not going to say the word eyes, eyes at the end of it. Starts with
Mhm.
a S. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that or not, but a lot of saucy pictures, I guess, is
Yeah, right, racy,
racy.
sexual,
Well,
you
that's the
know.
word that I was trying to allude, not say.
But I'll just throw it out there, and then YouTube will pick me off for everyone.
You find that a lot throughout this film, but I think it's really, and people's like, well, why would it be needed? It's kind of needed because it kind of just, I don't
Mhm.
know, it keeps in with the nature of the um what's going on, because the group, the gang, that's kind of what they're after in a lot of these things, is to do that kind of things to people.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like their fuel. Even the milk bar that they're relaxing in and stuff has these nude figures, that gives milk and stuff like that. So in every aspect, even in the victims' homes, you see that um saucy type, stuff. So it would lead you to believe, like, whatever reality that they're in, whatever universe that they're in, um, that this is something that they have grown up seeing, because it's in everybody's house. I mean, look at her
Yeah.
house. Look at all these things that are in her house. Did they grow up seeing this stuff and it's created that? Is that an underlying type thing that they're trying to get across?
And
You know,
although we're looking at it and we're thinking, "What in the world is all
yeah,
this?" But it seems normal to them.
it's normal. Did that make them the way that they are? Did it
Yeah.
make them the sexualized people that they are, that they are so overtly done that way, that, do they crave that step further
Mhm.
to, you know,
Did that create the deviant behavior in
yes.
like Alex and his gang? Is that
Mhm.
what created it?
I guess everybody can interpret it any way they want to. That's kind of how I've always looked at it. It kind of made sense to me, because if you see enough of that, what is going to, um, bring it to the next level? So that's kind
Mhm.
of where they're at, I guess.
And this is tense too because she's on the phone with the police.
Yeah,
We know that, and he's in there now. Alex is in there now, but we saw an open window,
yeah,
and we're like, oh no,
hmm,
they're gonna come in that way.
yeah. And he goes in there and he's like, "Oh, this is my type of place."
Yeah, and he calls her a filthy old sumka.
And she right off the bat, like, she is like, telling him, "Hey."
And she tells him that's a very important work of art there.
Mm. The only thing my dad ever remembered from this film. He brought it up enough whenever Clockwork Orange was brought up. And look at this scene where it just kind of shows, like, the angle where it's
You know, I don't. think that Yoko Ono's artwork was this overt
Yeah.
like that, but it sort of reminds me of Yoko Ono's performance art
Yeah.
because she would do things like she would have a naked woman
Yeah.
completely naked on stage with a fly crawling over every crevice of that woman's body.
Yeah.
Um, and that stuff was considered art back then.
Yeah. Avant-garde, or however you
Yeah,
want.
the avant-garde
Yeah.
art scene.
Which a lot of people don't understand. I don't understand it, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
But
it's hard to wrap your head around a lot of that stuff. But I'll tell you something that I did enjoy was Yoko's book Grapefruit.
mhm,
Because it had it was kind of like it had a saying for every day
yeah.
or some little task that you could do every day. And I just thought it was very interesting and unique the way she did that. And by the way, that was a big scene there where he
Yeah.
just basically took that woman out. I wonder how
So
many cats are in this scene.
there's a lot of them. But he hears, I think he because I can't remember. I think he hears the sirens of the police, coming
Yeah,
up. And he's like,
because
what's going on? And the Droogs kind of use that to their advantage.
yeah, they just smacked him upside the head with a bottle of milk. And this has a major turning point in the
Yes.
film at this point.
Major, yeah.
And at first, Alex thinks he's still going to be able to get
Yeah.
out of this.
Yeah, he does. He's just kind of sitting there smug with
Mhm.
that a bandage on his nose. So smirking like he's got it all figured out what's going to, that he's going to get out of it because he doesn't like to be challenged, like we said, even by the law. And I think he kind of thinks he's above the law. That's
Yeah,
why they've taken and
definitely.
done all the crap that they've been doing.
And there's people in real life that are like this, unfortunately.
Yeah.
There's even serial killers and stuff that think they are above the law, that think
Oh,
that they
yeah.
are craftier than anybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think Ted Bundy was one of them.
Yeah, Ted Bundy was definitely a prime example of
Yeah,
that.
because he wouldn't even get a lawyer. He was like his own lawyer, and
Mhm.
I think he thought, okay, my correct. He was right. He represented his own self.
And he was going to law school too. That's Ted Bundy was going to law school. He was behind many political candidates. It's just very, very creepy.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially the extent of what that guy did. It goes beyond what a lot of people even know. I know it was years back when I found out the extent of his, his crimes and what he did. Which I didn't have no idea about. I won't go into it, but I mean, if you just look into the history of Ted Bundy and things that he did, up in the mountains, he would take
Yeah.
stuff there, and it's just really weird.
And it was said too that they suspect him. I don't know if he ever admitted to this, but they suspected him of killing a young girl when he was just a young boy
Really?
himself. Yeah, killing I think a 13-year-old girl, 12 or 13-year-old girl.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. She disappeared, I think. Um and I think he may have been seen talking to her and
Yeah.
she was riding her bike. And the next thing you know, she's missing. And then, of course, they found her body a little later.
Oh my gosh.
And he's still, at this point, he's beaten and bloody, and he's still trying to play it all off.
Yeah, he's like, "You're trying to frighten me." He's letting them, the detective there's letting him know that she is dead. And he's like, "Oh, it's just a little," basically what he's saying. It's just a little hit on the head. She was fine, just breathing. But and he's like, "You're just trying to scare me." I think he kind of at this point is not trying to crack, but I think he at this point is thinking to himself, um, this is all falling. And then the detective spits on him.
Yeah.
And it looked like a real spit.
It does, and that looks like real blood too. That's some good blood there.
He kind of just like wipes it off and just gives that little smirk that he has. And then we're showing a shot of this big maximum security prison, very big prison,
Yeah.
with a ton of houses that you see.
And he still refers to himself, your friend and humble narrator,
Yeah,
like he's the victim.
yeah,
And soon he is going to become the victim
yeah,
in many ways.
yes. Oh yeah, but is it deserved? I think so.
I would say so too. But there's been a lot of talk about this in different groups, people discussing whether basically did the punishment fit the crime,
Yeah,
sort of thing. And there is a certain point where I felt a slight bit of sympathy for
yeah,
Alex.
yeah.
Now he looks like a schoolboy. I think he
Yeah,
looks
he
like a
does.
British schoolboy.
Yeah, like Malcolm Young or something like that.
Hmm. He's going to go play with AC/DC or something. And they're only going to give him 14 years for murder.
Yeah. The thing is whenever he really, because there's a point where he is, because, well, I don't want to divulge in just in case somebody's not seen it before. There's a point. Sorry, I thought I turned my phone off here, Dana. There's a point where, you, like you said, you do start kind of thinking, hey, he's went through too much.
Yeah.
And you kind of do start having sympathy for him. But you kind of towards the end, you some people may feel one way, some people may feel the other. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, when we get to the end, everybody will have to think for themselves.
Yeah,
Did did he turn over a new leaf, or did he not?
yeah, yeah.
That's the question.
Excuse me.
And they're making him stay behind that line. He can't go so far towards that desk or whatever.
So at this point, we kind of see him get rid of anything that makes him him. And he's going to start being taken control of by this prison. So,
he basically has no identity after this.
No,
he's just a number.
He's a number, yeah.
And you see too that at this point, Alex's demeanor has changed. He's no longer that smug, I'm going to smirk at you and I'm going to get out of this. Because it's the end of the road, Jack. You've reached the end of the line here. You're in prison now.
I think he's finally come to that realization of either I let this control me, or because there is no control anymore. So do I give in or do I resist? And I think that he wants to kind of have control in cooperating.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's kind of his way of having control still, is by, doing what he has to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's going to, because when you go to prison, what do you think? They're still going to be, going and fighting and doing stuff. And, he wants to kind of have control over that situation by, I guess, doing the best he can to show them, like, hey, I'm not a bad guy.
He
I'm
still thinks he's going to have control within the system.
Yeah.
And for those ladies that want to see Malcolm McDowell's behind here,
You could see it in the fast forwarded scene, but it was really fast.
I think Malcolm McDowell is brave too.
That's what I was getting ready to say. I think that he is somebody who didn't care to, kind of bear it all. Have you ever seen what's it called? Caligula? Is it called Caligula?
I have not seen Caligula, but I don't know if I should say I always wanted to, but it's something that I was kind of curious about.
Yeah. He definitely is not one to shy away from that kind of thing,
So here's the I call it a tough love kind of scene.
So it shows them in like this, like religious, I guess, meeting. And you get so oh.
Yeah, this is a hellfire and brimstone guy here.
This minister is up here, and I guess that's what, or priest, whatever. I don't know really what the right terminology. I guess priest.
Yeah, I think so.
If we're wrong, just overlook us.
Yes, please don't take offense, because
No, please don't. But you see Alex up. He's not sitting with the rest of the congregation. He's up by this minister, and up alongside of the guard and stuff. So you're led to believe, well, he's taking on some sort of role. He's not out there with the rest of the population. He's up there, and you see him. He's turning the slide projector, or what do you call those?
overhead
Projector.
is that what that is? Yeah. And see, I think they do this on purpose, because guess what? This is going to make the other prisoners hate Alex.
Yeah.
Because they think he's getting special treatment.
He's getting special treatment, yeah. And you're thinking, what did he do to be able to get such a privilege? Because, I mean, probably in prison, this is seen as some sort of a privilege.
I'm thinking that they know that he's been accused of these heinous crimes.
Yes.
And they want him to be punished by the other prisoners in the prison. I think that's a setup, is what that is.
If you see me doing something here tonight, I'm just looking there. I seen something on my camera.
Oh, okay.
Just making sure that.
Getting to see more of Malcolm McDowell's crystal blue eyes.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Okay.
And we're getting more religious imagery here as well.
Because he's becoming like enlightened, sort of, in his own way. And it shows him as the Roman whipping Jesus, carrying the cross. So it's like he's taking on that role. He gets pleasure out of that. It's not. It's like
Yeah, it's empowerment for him.
yes, it's like he's seen in an enlightened way. He's wanting to turn over this Christian, leaf, per se, but he's actually getting, instead of for the right reasons, he's getting this sense of power from
Hmm.
all the wrong reasons.
Yeah,
So
from all the violence, because he even says
yeah,
there, I wasn't in it for the good parts of the book. I liked it where they were fighting each other and killing each other and
yeah.
all that.
So even whenever it comes to, reading, the scriptures and stuff like that, he thrives on the violence of it,
Hmm.
not the message of good and love and stuff like that. So um and I think I've read stuff where other like serial killers and stuff like that they've kind of taken stuff like that and kind of twisted it around. I think even Charles Manson did with the whole like Helter Skelter type stuff.
Yeah.
So that concept is not new. It's not something that is not in reality, because it is, if you're into true crime and stuff like that, you can see a lot of that, unfortunately.
And he's kind of, he's pulling the wool over this priest's eyes here too.
Yeah.
And they they do not refer to him as Alex. They refer to him as his prison number.
Yeah. 655321, I think is his name. Yeah. But he wears this arm badge.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but that arm badge are always, it must say, hey, he's important because he's got this on. He's not like the rest of the prisoners. But it always reminded me of stuff that's not good. I'm not, I don't know what I should say and what I shouldn't say, but do you know what I'm talking about, Dana?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Believe I do, Candace.
Yeah. Does it not remind you of something that they wore,
Mhm.
which I guess you can say that. I don't think that would be something that you would be flagged over. Because people in history, I mean, it's in the history books, but it doesn't look right. I'll just say that.
Right.
And I think that this might have been done intentional, um, because it shows that kind of imagery here in a little bit.
Yeah. It most certainly does. Yeah.
Which I may just be looking too much into it, but it always reminded me of that. So
Well, no, yeah, I see it too, and I thought that in the past, seeing it again, brought that back up.
yeah,
So we're seeing here that Alex is asking to be put into this treatment program
yeah,
because at this point he's thinking, "Oh, this is going to get me out of here quicker," right?
yeah,
So it's all to service Alex. Everything is to service Alex.
yeah.
Um,
And if it means to be very good, that's what Alex is going to do to get out of there. And this father is sees that within him. He's like, oh, this, he is doing what he's supposed to be doing. He's deserving of this treatment.
Mm-hmm.
But he's trying to warn him. Hey, there's dangers to this. This is experimental. It's nothing that's you're actually going to be like the person that's getting this done to see if it works, and basically.
And he's telling the priest, I just want to be good. I'm not worried about the dangers.
Yeah.
Malcolm McDowell looks so innocent here, too.
Yeah,
You can almost
definitely.
envision a little halo going ding.
Yeah, definitely. And he's become religious and, just quoting these verses and I
I've
just
never
love the
seen
use.
a prison portrayed quite like this.
Yeah, I know it's very different.
Mm.
Um, but I love the usage of like hallway scenes in Stanley
Mm.
Kubrick's. I love, because The Shining is probably the most famous, hallway scene of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Um, but I like this one as well, the hallway shots. This is like a fancy prison, to be honest with you. This may be
It's
like this may be
well,
normal in Britain, but I don't know.
is it wrong of me to find this funny that there's a cross with Jesus on the wall right next to all these naked
Oh
ladies?
yeah. I think if I had to be put in prison, I would want the bars, like where it's open. I don't think I could stand this kind of like closed in.
No, I'm so
I am
claustrophobic that
too.
would do me in. I hope I don't have to find out what the inside of
Oh,
any
oh gosh,
prison
no.
looks like.
So this guard, I guess is what you'd call him, is come and told all these men to form two lines.
Mhm. Well, guys and gals, I hate to, but I've been drinking, energy drink here, so I'm going to have to take myself out of the stream for just a minute or so. But I'm sure Candace will keep y'all entertained while I'm gone.
So here we see them prepping for inspection, and you see these guards and suits going down the line, checking everybody out. And you see Alex just sitting there, just waiting on them to come down and he dares to speak, and he does. And they ask him, they say, "What crime did you commit?" And he said, "Accidental, that he accidentally killed somebody." And the guard's like, "No, he didn't accidentally kill somebody. He brutally murdered this woman." So he has been chosen for this treatment that he was wanting to take part in. So Alex has got his way, basically. And you can see by the smug grin on his face. So Alex is marched into this office. Philip says solitary and some books, and I would be happy. So Alex is talking to this guy. I guess he's going to find out what's going to be going on, I guess. I really need to read the book to this. I've not read a book in a while. It's been a while since I've even read anything. I had I'd already read The Shining, like, oh my gosh, I don't even know how many times I've read it. But I started it again a few months ago and got about halfway through, and I've not picked it up again. And that was the first time that I actually started reading in probably a year or so. I don't get to read like I used to. I love to read, but I don't get to do it nearly as enough. I'd love to read A Clockwork Orange.
I hope y'all don't mind. I've got my cheddar and sour cream chips. And I
Ooh.
have a little bit of something here.
I love the queso chips they're like the Great Value brand, Dana. If you ever get chips from Walmart,
I'll have to get. I think no. Wait a second. I think I have had those. They are good.
they're really good. And what I do with mine is I take some chamoy, tahine, and pickle juice, and I dip it in it. I use it as dip. That's what
Yeah.
I like. I like that sweet, that not sweet, but that salty, like sour.
Candace and me are a lot alike with that. So, um, and I have taken to. I don't know if I told Candace this or not. I've taken to using that Duke's bacon and tomato mayonnaise as a dip
Yeah,
now
I
too.
have looked for that, Dana, and I can't find it.
Dang.
I have not. I've looked everywhere, and usually Food City has stuff that Walmart doesn't. I live in a little town. I mean, we don't have many choices to choose from anyway. Um, but I've not seen it yet. But if I do see it, I mean, the way that you describe it sounds good. So I'm gonna get me some if I do find it. I found the pickle ketchup from is it Kraft? Somebody makes a
You have
pickle
to get
ketchup.
some of that.
I've not tried it. I've not went and got it or tried it. No, Chris got some of that. It's ketchup and mayo mixed. I
Oh,
forget what it's called, like
okay.
mayo chup or something like that. Now, I did not like that. It was Kraft, and I usually love Kraft, like brand mayonnaise, but
Right.
I don't know. It tasted weird. Didn't taste like putting ketchup in mayonnaise because I like ketchup and mayonnaise.
Yeah. I
But I
like
did it.
I like mayonnaise, and I don't like mustard by itself, but I'll mix mayonnaise and mustard like for
Oh, yeah.
Halloween when I make my earwax wieners to dip the little cocktail weenies in. It's
Yeah.
good like that.
Oh, that sounds good. Yeah. But I have this weird thing that I always used to do is I'd take biscuits like from KFC or Lee's Famous Recipe or something like that. And I would get Kraft mayonnaise
Mhm.
packets and ketchup and mix it and eat it. People say you're gross.
Well, I take Steve thinks I'm gross because I put ketchup on a lot of different things. I'll put it on grilled cheese. I'll put it on macaroni and cheese. He's like, dang, that's gross. But I will take like ketchup and
Yeah.
mix like chili powder in it and salt
Mm.
and pickle juice. And like, I'll just go to my spice rack. I'll say, ooh, that looks good. Let's put that in there. And then I use it as a dip for my chips.
Oh my goodness. Well, like I said, I've come up with some crazy concoctions that people probably have, questions about, but it's what you like.
Hmm. Um, Andrew, I didn't even plan on wearing white for the film, but it looks like me
No.
and Candace pretty much do.
Yeah, I can see that now.
We didn't plan it. We didn't coordinate anything
No,
like that.
we didn't. It just kind of worked out that way, I guess.
It says if so cool, if not weird coincidence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is really. I didn't think of it, but that's true. So here we see Alex. He's the lucky, recipient of this treatment that he's going to start, and he thinks he's really lucky to do this.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think even if I was a criminal, I'd be nervous about taking this
Yeah,
particular drug.
and he doesn't really understand what he's getting ready to have to go through.
And this, I find this funny. He just like rolls over, pulls his pants that way down, and waits for her to stick him with that.
Yeah. So he's like, "What kind of treatment is this?" She's all kind of, it's really simple. We're just going to show you some films, and
Mm-hmm.
he think he's got it good. So he likes the video. He likes to, but then here he's strapped down.
Yeah, it's like, and this is one of the famous scenes here.
Hmm. And I think they really got those in here. That's not any kind of prosthetic or anything. They're really putting
No,
those
I
things
think
in his
they
eye.
really did do that.
I
So,
don't really know how you would, I'm sure you can nowadays, but this is like real. Like they really are. If I'm wrong, correct
Has
me. But
anybody ever asked Malcolm McDowell how it felt to have that contraption on him?
seems like I had read an interview once where he had said that. I may be mistaken and just having some kind of like false memories, but that couldn't have been comfortable. Anything with your eyes hurt, especially when they start getting dry. I wonder how many
And
takes they had to take doing
we
this.
see him putting the eye drops in his eyes too.
There is no way that I could sit there and done that. Just being in a straitjacket I would have been crazy.
Oh yeah.
So we see Alex being subjective to these, criminal films showing people that kind of look like them. It looks like the Droogs, beating this guy up, and he's just, subjected to all these crazy films.
And at first he's okay, he's just sitting there, he's watching, he's kind of smiling. But keep in mind they give him this drug, and this drug is going to have a nauseating effect on him.
So whenever he sees violence or thinks about, deviancy, like going like sexual deviancy and stuff like that, he will get sick to his stomach. And you kind of see his grin fade away, and you kind of see this like sick look come over his face. And he really looks like he's sick too. Like he's seen all this violence and the old in and out, I guess.
The old in out, yeah.
The old in and out. So
he's starting to become, he looks frightened here. Not only sick, but frightened.
He's gulping and kind of wincing, trying to wince, but he can't. He just looks totally just like he's just going to up.
Yeah, and he's begging them now, get me up. I'm going to be sick. Get something. I'm going to be sick. And, And we're seeing that this really isn't a treatment. They're studying him.
They are, yeah. It's an experiment. He is the experiment.
He's a guinea pig for this experiment. And now that I have guinea pigs as pets, like that kind of makes me feel it's a bizarre thing to say somebody's a guinea pig, because I would hate to think of my guinea pigs as being used for some kind of experiment.
Same. They're so cute. Oh, Dana, I went to get crickets for the lizard and my frogs today, and they had a mama guinea pig in there. Beautiful mama guinea pig. She was like black and brown, like caramel brown and stuff like that. And she had 3 little babies, and they looked like little dust bunnies. They were so little. They were so cute. I wish you could have seen them.
Steve would probably say, don't let Dana see any more guinea pigs because she'll want to get more.
Yeah.
But really, I think I've got all the guinea pigs I need. 2 is about my limit.
2 is enough, I think. Yeah. Hey, that's what I think too.
And you're talking to a person that had, a bunch of adult rats and 2 litters of baby rats.
Well, what do you think about me, Dane? I had 20 of them at one time.
I know you had more than I did. And, I thought I had a lot.
So now here we're seeing like this Nazi Germany type stuff, and that's kind of what I was alluding to earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of he looked like with that armband on.
Andrew said, I think Malcolm said it was really the eye stuff, crazy Kubrick. He also treated Shelley Duvall harshly during the filming of The Shine to make her act stressed out. Boy, did that work. And it did, but, and me and Candace talked about this when we covered Shelley Duvall's film career.
We did. Yeah.
That I felt terribly sorry for Shelley Duvall.
Yeah.
Because I think Kubrick, I just felt like Kubrick was a little harder on her. Maybe it was because she was a woman, and I'm not really trying to say anything super bad about Kubrick, but I think sometimes these directors get a little drunk with power, and they think that they can do a little more to a woman, that maybe a man won't stand for that
I
for
think
very
he
much
just he wanted to provoke what he wanted
money. Hmm.
to get the feeling that he wanted, and he would push it to the limit. But here we see that within all of this violence, this ultra violence that he's being subjected to, his good old Beethoven, the Ninth Symphony, the thing that he
Yeah,
loves just almost more than anything, is being played too.
yeah,
So over this violence that's making him sick is something that he loves is being played. So we are, he's saying it's a sin, it's a sin, it's a sin because they're playing, Ludwig's music. It says it's a sin using Ludwig van like that.
uh,
And so what that's alluding to showing you is that whenever he's going to be hearing this,
yeah.
he's going to be picturing those violent
And he's
things.
going to
So,
become ill whether he's got this drug in him or not.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he's still being punished. See,
Yeah.
Alex thought it was going to be easy. He thought it
Yeah.
was going to
Yeah.
be an easy out. But he's still being punished. He's just getting all his punishment at once
Yeah.
instead of having it spread out over years.
But what is happening to him is, I think he's okay with the violence making him sick, but they're taking something so special to him, like Beethoven's music, and the Ninth Symphony, the thing that he loved probably more than anything, um, and turning it bad.
It would be like, as much as me and Candace love music by the Beatles,
Yeah.
it would be like taking us and doing exactly this to us, but playing Beatles music
Yeah.
or any kind of music, or maybe a beautiful scene that,
Yeah.
a flower or, sunrise or whatever, it makes you happy. And doing something like that, twisting it in such a way.
Yeah. It would be definitely tough.
Andrew says, I agree with you guys that Kubrick, that read Kubrick, different time in society too, but I think Kubrick was great.
Oh
Kubrick
yeah.
was an amazing director, despite some of his, kind of iffy
Choices.
choices. But he was a great director.
Definitely, yeah. I love his films. So you learn here that Alex is going to be sent back out into the real world.
Yeah.
So he's getting off early. 2 years.
When he was originally sentenced to 14 years.
Yeah. So he got 12 years hacked off that, just by doing this treatment.
But poor Alex is soon going to find out that the world that he knew prior to this is not
Yep.
the same.
No. Just within that 2 years. And he's going to find out some stuff that's really going to shock him too. And he's going to find out that it's not going to be easy going into the society. It's not going to be like it was whenever he had, left it.
And we're seeing there's a lot of political stuff in here, as what
Yeah.
the guy just said there.
So you got this guy coming out here on the stage, and he's berating Alex and saying that he stinks and that he didn't shower, and that, you know, just saying stuff to him that is meant to tick him off.
You know, this kind of reminds me of Cronenberg's The Brood, because there is a scene there where they had, I call it a cult in The Brood. If anybody has seen The Brood, you'll know what I'm talking about. And so the head of this group is pretending to be this guy's father, and he's just berating him unmercifully. So that scene in The Brood kind of reminds me of this scene. Only
Yeah.
this scene's a little more violent.
Yeah. He's like kind of Three Stooged him. He smacked him, honked his nose, and knocked him over. I always felt that funny. I don't know why. Oh goodness.
So
So
he's gonna have to lick his shoe
yeah,
before he'll let him up.
he's doing everything in the world to try to get him mad, and he starts to feel anger, and he's starting to retch. He's starting to get sick. He's starting to, you know, and it's showing that he has to give in because he's just getting so sick he can't take it. And the thought of reacting in a violent way is not going to work because this medication that he's on is causing him to be sick.
And they're getting pleasure out of watching.
They are. They're getting pleasure out of seeing that their work has, you know, has worked, I guess. That they're, and they also probably like seeing him suffer too.
Mhm.
So this guy takes a bow because this is some kind of performance that he's come out here and done, you know. Now you see this beautiful lady in her birthday suit.
The look on the priest's face, though, and then then it goes to the look on Alex's face.
I'll never forget that just that look of him just looking up at this.
Mhm.
I always found this film, and I don't know why. I always found it a powerful movie. It's got an underlying message to it, you know, that you know, when you do wrong, no matter what, it's, you know, it's going to come and bite you in the hind end, you know.
It will.
So, well, he
And
just
no matter how much you try to convince the powers that be that you're above all of this, it's still going to happen.
yeah, yeah. So she's just like slinking over to him, and he's just like, you know, looking
Candace,
at.
does this remind you of the scene where Jack goes up to room 237 and the woman gets out of the bathtub and the way that she's walking up to him?
Yeah, that it does. That you mentioned that, Dana. It does.
Oh, Alex, you don't want to do that.
So it's having a lot of nip shots from the
What
very
is
beginning.
PHO going on in this film? That's all I'm going to say.
I don't know. I always just I think Malcolm McDowell was a great actor. I mean, he really was. He really just took this role and just made it. I don't know. I don't think it'd been the same without him. And even down to his eyes. His eyes play a huge role in this. And right down to the color, I think. For me, at least. Like, it's like piercing blue eyes. And he is very expressive whenever it shows him in, like, shots where he's looking up. And it kind of, Do you believe it would have been different? This is a question for you, Dana, and anybody in the chat that wants to answer it. If he had brown eyes or duller eyes, do you think that this would have came across
Yeah, I don't think it would have been as
the way that it is?
powerful. I don't think it would have been as powerful because there's a lot in those eyes.
There is, definitely. They're very haunting, I guess. Whenever he gives that look, it's a look that is of, even in his, weak moments, it's a powerful look, I think.
Well, thank you, Andrew. I haven't had too many people say that to me. He says, very clever with the comparison of room 237 and that Clockwork Orange scene. Very astute.
Yeah, definitely. I would have never thought of that, but you're 100% correct. So even him looking up, I mean, look at his eyes and it plays in to me. I mean, that's just something. I mean, I look into things too deeply.
No, I mean, Malcolm McDowell is a fantastic actor. He's an amazing actor.
Yeah.
But those eyes add
It
another
does.
layer to his performance.
It really does. It just, I don't know. If it was somebody else with maybe a different color eye, maybe it wouldn't have. Because behind the beauty of his eyes is a sadistic character. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm. I'm seeing another comparison to The Shining here is you notice a lot of these pictures of either partially or fully nude women on the walls. When Scatman Crothers' character was in that hotel room down in Florida, and
Yep.
he was sensing what was going on with Danny and stuff.
Yeah.
There were naked pictures of
Yeah.
women, and I'm like, would a hotel room have that? But you're seeing kind of the same thing here.
Whenever you mentioned the pictures, I knew where you were going because you were right. I would have never thought about it, but you are right. Definitely. It's that Kubrick style, I believe. It's just, he uses color a lot.
Yeah.
In his films. So that has led me to believe, like, even the color of Alex's eyes was maybe a factor. I'm not saying that he, like, said, "Oh, I need somebody with these piercing blue eyes," but I think it maybe helped him get that role, maybe because his eyes are used a lot, especially whenever they put those devices in his eyes. And there's a lot of staring, a lot of shots where the focal features is the eyes. So. And I love this wallpaper and stuff.
Yeah. And he's come back to his parents' house and he thinks everything's going to be the same, but they have taken in a boarder.
Yeah. And he doesn't like that. He's taking his room, I believe, is what it was. Mm-hmm. And his dad is just he's nervous around Alex.
There's a strange fellow sitting on the couch. And that's Joe. Yeah, they just say it kind of like a matter of factly. He lives here now.
Because they wouldn't expected him to get out anytime soon. They expected that 14 years to. They figure, well, I guess in 14 years, old Joe might be out of here, but. And he just kind of this border looks at him. He's like, I know about you.
Yeah, I know what you did, and your poor parents having to have a son like you, and
yeah. So, Alex doesn't like that. Mm-hmm. The stranger in his house, in his room, and he goes to strike this Joe, and it's immediately stopped dead in his tracks because he gets this gagging feeling. He's getting sick.
And Joe, it seems, has taken over. He's become the son that they probably always
Exactly.
wanted.
The son that they never had, because Alex has not been that ideal son that anybody would ever want, I would think.
So he finds out the police have taken all his things, all his personal things, and sold them for compensation for the people that he did these
Yeah.
terrible things to.
And Basil is Snake. Met with an accident. So they've killed the snake.
Mm. And that bothers me more now, that scene, because I do have a pet snake who, as much as people might say, ooh, a snake, I love my snake just like I do my other animals.
Can't kick out Joe.
He's paying rent. So, yeah, they made a arrangement with Joe for 2 years. So,
and Alex, he just looks like he's just defeated, and he's got tears welled up in his eyes
he
from
looked
the.
like a little boy. You could almost imagine him shrinking down to a little boy size.
So he's come back thinking that he can take over his room again and everything's going to be okay. But he's found out really quickly that, hey, life has, as I know it is, it's gone. And all he's got is that orange sack that he's holding on to, his belongings. He has nothing else. He don't have his snake. He doesn't have any other of his other possessions. All he had was what he had whenever he went into the prison. So
I think that at this point, this was where I started to feel a tinge of sympathy towards Alex.
The viewer, starts to feel that, because I always did, But it's still all about him. He suffered, and everybody wants him to suffer. And Joe kind of leans over to him and says, well, it's only right that you suffer,
Yeah, the things you did to other people.
And his mom's just in fits over here because she just, and his dad just looks defeated and nervous and anxious as well.
And it's very wrong to make your mother cry. Trust me on this one, folks. Yeah. So Alex, I've made my mother cry before. It's not,
Oh yeah, I think everybody has, unfortunately. So he's leaving, but he's like, let it make you feel bad. I hope this makes you feel bad, basically. And his poor old mom is just. But Joe, he's like, like you said, like the perfect son for him. And here's Alex is just walking along I guess that's the River Thames, isn't it, Dana?
I would say so, yeah.
Just walking kind of just with the nowhere look on his face, and kind of reminds you of that scene in A Hard Day's Night whenever Ringo grandfather makes him feel bad about his nose and stuff, and he goes out walking, and kind of reminds you of that a little bit. And he just sat staring down into the waterway, and just this look of like, because I found myself looking like that before whenever stuff's just going wrong, and you're like, just kind of going within yourself and thinking, what next? Where do I turn? Where do I go now? So you got this old man coming to him, asking him if he's got any change, I guess, for him. Alex is just kind of ignoring him because he's like lost in space.
He's in a daze, yeah.
And instead of reacting in a bad way like he usually does, he actually reaches into his pocket and pulls something
what
out.
little money he has, he gives him some.
And you think now, is he finally turned over that new leaf? Is he actually different? You think, is this his human side of him? And as this man is thanking him for the money, and he turns to walk away, he gets this look and is looking at him like, hey. Like, you're the bastard. You're the bastard that killed me. So here this guy is bringing him in here to all these
he's
people.
Telling him buddies, basically. Yeah, this the guy that beat me up.
So you see that even in Alex's new leaf that's been turned over, he's done so much wrong to people that even in his, in his goodness, all's not forgiven, and you got these awful faces of these people.
And I think too, it's how sometimes people, older people, the elderly are envious of the young.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm not saying they all want to get revenge on the young, and then to top it off, one of his friends is now a cop.
Yeah. So you see the backs of the cops. It doesn't show their face when they're shooing all these people that's beating him up. But then he looks up and you can just see, the look on his face whenever he sees them.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget that guy's name. But he sees
is that Georgie boy? Is that what he calls him?
I think so. And he sees that two of the Droogs are the enemy now to him of what they were before. So that they're corrupt because they were doing just like Alex.
Yeah.
So now they've taken him out to this field. I guess you would call it a field, wouldn't you, Dana?
Yeah. I mean, that's what it appears to be to me.
And Dim and Georgie, I guess that's his name, walking him in handcuffs through this Kentucky mountain ATV.
Yeah, and it looks like, some
ATV path.
Back roads. Yeah.
That's where it looks like. You're used to Kentucky and you see these back roads, then you'll say, hey, that looks like it was shot in Kentucky.
Yeah, Kentucky, Tennessee, Indiana, maybe, if you've been in any of those places, this will look very familiar to you. And this bothers me because I have an intense fear of slowly drowning.
Yeah.
Or being suffocated somehow.
I couldn't even do that. I mean, even as an actor, there's no way I could allow that to happen to myself. Because I know that they're not really pushing him down or anything like that. But
he still has to have his head held underwater for a little bit.
So he's got his head just down in this big trough and they're just beating the holy shit out of him. And it seems like his head's been held down for far too long, There's no way. Is there there's no way that he's had his head down there that long, and it's just like one long continuous shot. It looks like it
It
is.
looks like it is, but yeah, I don't know unless there was some way for Michael McDowell to breathe. You know,
I
I
just
don't
don't know how it would be possible. And it had to be something. I would love to just know the ins and outs of this.
Andrew says, I like Alex's gagging and wrenching, almost like the different sides of him and his personality are at war with each other. Yeah, I feel that too. Andrew.
Yeah, definitely. So here we see a familiar scene. Only
Mhm.
it's raining, We see that home sign. So we know, the viewer, we know that that's not a place that Alex needs to be heading to.
And we're seeing a very familiar house too.
But Alex is in such a state, he doesn't realize where he's kind of, stumbling into. He's
Mhm.
stumbling into familiar territory, definitely.
He's
Dangerous.
he's stumbling into a lion's den, is what
He
he's
is, but he doesn't realize that.
doing.
It says here, Dana, 27 watching now.
Oh, yeah, I just looked at that. Wow.
Wow. A lot of love for Clockwork.
I think that may have been the most for any watch along I've done.
Mm-hmm. Welcome, anybody that's new.
Yep.
So here we see a familiar face typing away at the old typewriter here.
And we're actually seeing the Mirror, which is a newspaper in the UK, that has an article about Alex.
Yeah. We see this muscle-clad individual here working out. So here's the scene with the door with the mirrors and oh, and he just falls in. Alex has just been just through the ringer here. And then we see that this guy who once was able to, go without a wheelchair is now in a wheelchair. So this is what Alex has done and his droogs have done to this guy. We also don't see his wife anywhere.
No.
But, at this point, this is just a helpless individual who's been beat to death. And having that happen to him, he has sympathy for this helpless, this helpless guy that's been beat in the rain. And he wants to, help him and because as he says, he and his droogs, they had their masks on whenever they did all this cruel things to this man and his wife.
And I'm thinking about those masks more and more, Candace, that those masks, maybe that was trying to project that these people were trying to become other people when they committed their crimes.
Yeah.
Or maybe to them, it seemed like they weren't as bad of people as they were because, no, it wasn't us that did this. It was these other people.
So he's like, I know you. Aren't you that guy from the newspaper? Because he knows that this is a guy that did something to somebody else. Cat lady, But he doesn't know that this is the individual who did that to him and his wife. But he actually has sympathy on this person that's been thrown out by the police and you see him kind of shaking, and there's something,
The colors here in the bathroom especially remind me of the bathroom in room 237 on
Yeah,
the
definitely.
well.
The sea foamy green type of, the tile. I think the bathroom is green, or the bathtub is green, isn't it, Dana?
I
It's a
believe so.
color.
Yeah. Kind of reminds me of my granny's bathtub.
Yeah, that was a very popular, seafoam greens and pinks and stuff like that. Everybody had beautiful bathrooms back then. I think that I love like mid-century modern type.
Mm. And we're hearing him singing in the rain, and there's going to be a realization coming
Oh
up
yeah,
there.
yeah. Because if you remember, when this heinous crime against this individual here, this man in this wheelchair, and his wife was happening, that's what Alex was doing.
Mhm.
He was
And
dancing and singing.
there's another movie that a realization comes of who is doing the killing in a horror movie, The Stepfather, if you've ever seen that, because he whistles Camptown Races
Mm,
every
yeah,
time he kills somebody
yeah,
when he leaves their house, and it really comes into play on Stepfather 2. If
yeah.
y'all have seen Stepfather and Stepfather 2, you'll know what I'm talking about there. Uh-oh.
And you see his face, this kind of wince into realization of
Yeah, it's like, oh
probably
my
having
God,
flashbacks as well. You know what I mean?
what have I let back into my house,
Mhm.
You're messing up, Alex. This is an example of post-traumatic stress
Yeah,
right here
he's
because
just absolutely just having a panic. And if you've ever experienced that, then, that's very, very real. And here Alex is eating his spaghetti, drinking his wine, thinking everything's okay. He's had him a nice hot bath, getting his meal on and his wine on. His look is very different now,
yeah,
meeting him. He's just kind of eating his spaghetti, looking at him, and this man is
looks
just
like
like,
spaghetti and meatballs, actually.
yeah,
Or
he's,
maybe it's just ground beef. I don't know. It from far away it looked like there were actually meatballs.
yeah. But he's just kind of giving him that look that Alex would give, whenever he was, just like mad and in that headspace of. Alex is kind of getting a feeling, hey, something's not right here.
Something really strange going on
Yeah.
here. Funny that nobody's wanting to drink the wine.
He's looking at it.
And you can see the older man becoming more and more agitated.
Yeah. He just closes his eyes and takes a drink. Oh. He's like, oh, nothing happened, so.
Hey, Blissful. That's
Hey.
okay. We still got, time in the movie. We ain't even
Oh,
to the
yeah.
2-hour mark yet.
Oh, yeah. I think the good thing about this movie is I love it so much that it goes by really quickly. It doesn't seem like you've been sitting for 2 hours watching a movie.
Mm-mm. That's a mark of a good movie when you
It
can't
is.
tell it's 2
Mhm.
hours or over.
Remember when you say that you was going to be doing this, I was like, oh, I definitely want to. So thank you for, I know that I couldn't be on it, the last time that you had it scheduled. So,
Mm.
thank you for, rescheduling it so I could be on here with you.
Oh yeah, I'm always up for that because just like Chris, I rescheduled the Night of the Living Dead 90 Apples and Oranges twice
Yeah.
because I really wanted Chris to be on there, and I knew that Chris wanted to be on there.
Yeah.
Blissful, me and Candace both agree it is a great movie. This is a great movie.
Yeah.
Hey, Ed. Ed says in the book, Alex stays reformed with the nuclear family and all. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is a huge difference between
Yeah. That would be really
the.
different than what the ending would be on this one. But we learned that his wife just could not take, like he said, the doctor said it was pneumonia, but she passed away, from the events that, she just couldn't handle it,
Right, it weakened her, and she didn't recover.
Yeah.
Welcome, Ed. We're always glad to see new people in here.
Oh, yeah. So Alex thinks he's knowing that hey, this is not a good situation that I'm in. I need to get out of here. But they're not going to let him out there.
Mm-mm.
Not at all. Which, think about it though. If you were in that situation of that guy, that was put in, I don't blame him for treating Alex the way that he's treating him. Definitely.
Oh boy. Yeah, definitely anybody that loves this movie does have great taste in movies, Bliss.
Yeah.
Why I agree. Oh, there's another new person.
Very well, my droogs.
People know they're a fan of the movie if they
Oh,
know the
yeah.
quotes from the movie.
Oh, people love A Clockwork Orange. I should have brought my artwork. I should have showed some of that off.
If you've got it handy, Candace, we could always spend some time afterwards after the movie and
I don't know if it's here or not. Seems like I have one painting here. I don't know what I did with it. I think it might be in our family room. It was back a long time ago. My art has since gotten a lot better since then, but people like that style. I used to do like a cartoony style. All my stuff's cartoony, but this was like really cartoony. I don't think I ever painted you anything, did I, Dana?
Not
Did I?
not like a picture specifically, but when our dog Sam passed away, you made me that beautiful box and you painted Sam on it.
It was a carved box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have that back in me and Steve's bedroom. It's on my little makeup,
Yes, I did. I remember that now.
and I treasure that. I'll always treasure it.
Yeah. I need to make more boxes like that where I do the I call it carve, but I'm not carving it. I just use like a wood burner to burn it and stuff. And people seem to like that kind of stuff.
I very much liked it, and Steve liked it too.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt awful whenever you lost him. I said, I got to do something for Dana. I think Abby or our friend Abby, she had lost her dog right around the same time that you lost Sam. So I made her one of Charlie. And she really liked it too. But these people are just asking Alex a bunch of questions, and
yeah,
Alex is definitely nervous. You can see a little bit of sweat on his brow.
You're being set up, dude.
Yeah, definitely. And the stare that this guy's I always love
but he
that
just
part.
falls face first into the spaghetti.
He just picks it, that guy picks him up and he's got drool coming out of his mouth and he's just covered in the spaghetti. And you can tell that he wants to do so much more to him, but he's being kind with what he's doing here, with what Alex has put him through. So, he's been very, very kind. So here we see Alex just kind of snoozing along, from
Beethoven is playing in the background.
Oh yeah, but not silently either. It's kind of blast. And he wakes up and he hears this, and we know now that when he hears Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, it makes him sick.
Yeah,
very, 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 very sick, very ill. He gets this. Just imagine being so like motion sickness, and it just never, no relief.
No relief. Yeah.
So Alex he's putting his hands on his ears and he's stumbling around just because he's just so weak and sick.
Yeah.
And he hears this and he's locked in this room. And I mean, just could you imagine? I like those chairs. Like they remind me of like
My Aunt Pam used to have chairs that were like that, but they were the wicker ones. Do you remember
like
the wicker ones?
Yes. Yeah. I love ratting stuff, ratting or wicker, whatever you want to call it. But you see the pure glee on this guy's face,
Yeah, he's getting, the only revenge that he can get.
That's the only way he can, yeah. He's sitting in front of the recorder that's playing these huge speakers blasting out Beethoven's Ninth. And I love the version of it. It's so different. The soundtrack, like I agree, that's like the soundtrack is amazing. I remember I would like if I'm cleaning or something, every so often I'll put it on and just play the soundtrack. I love it. It's so different. It's like it's a I don't know, what would you call that style? It's like I don't know. It's like something that you would hear like in a spaceship or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Ed, I did not know that, but Candace might have. He says the muscle man who carries Alex is the actor who plays Darth Vader in Star Wars.
Really? I didn't know that. No, I didn't. That's neat, though.
See, that's why I like getting, some
definitely
new blood in here, because people all have things that they can share.
Yes. So here we see Alex so overtaken by this music that he's just willing to do anything to get away from it. So he actually throws himself out the window, and you would think that he would come to an end by doing that because it looked really high from the window. And here we see Alex and all these casts broken and bad.
Yeah, basically every bone is broken.
His legs are all casted up and his arms. He's in like this like diaper type, not really a diaper, but it's like cloth. And it looks like he's had some kind of chest opening, maybe broke his ribs or something, and he's just in some bad shape.
So we're nearing like the final scenes of the movie here. Um, I always just thought that was so funny. The doctor and the nurse were getting
Yeah.
it on behind that curtain.
She busts out like with the not decent.
I'm just gonna. I think it's Nige, but I'm gonna just call you Ian so I don't mispronounce it. They say, have you both read the book as well? Now
I've
I
not.
have, but it's been a while, and yeah, Candace said that she had not.
I've always wanted to. I have the book, but I've never read it. I really, I think I'm going to try to make it a priority within the year or two. I need to read more. Here's his parents' visit.
Mm.
They got his legs elevated up on these pillows.
Are you feeling better? Well, I don't know if we. Blissful says it's been a long time since she's read the book.
Fruit basket. Can't even move. How's he going to eat the fruit basket? All that fruit would be rotted by the time that he'd be able
Does
to.
that say "eat me" on the?
I think it's like cookies or something like that, which would be a throwback to Alice in Wonderland, but I don't know. His mom's always so stylish.
Didn't in Animal House, didn't the float that the guys were in at the end, wasn't it a cake and it said "eat me" on it?
I can't remember. It's been so long since I've
I'm
seen
gonna
it.
have to go back and watch Animal House now.
It's been so long.
And you say, I remember trying to learn the NASDAQ language that Anthony Burgess devised. Yeah, it was very unique.
It definitely was.
But I think maybe Anthony Burgess probably realized that, because I don't think they had that glossary in the book when the book first came out. I think that was in subsequent releases of the book that they put that glossary in. I think he probably didn't think about it at the time, how hard it was going to be for people to understand some of that stuff.
This has always been one of my favorite scenes for some reason. I mean, you just see a side of Alex that is, you see the humor in him. I think this is the scene where he starts telling the jokes.
Mm.
And that nurse or doctor, I think she's a doctor, she just seems so cheery and there's a joke from this movie that I always tell that he says.
Oh, this is where
Here
she's
it is. Here it is.
listeners.
This is my. I always love this. I thought this was so funny. I'd rewind it back and watch it over and over and over. She says, "Just say the first thing that pops into your mind."
Cabbages.
Knickers. It's not got a beak. He just laughed. I love
He's
that.
like, oh, good. Everything he's saying.
Says the boy that you quarreled with. Smash your face for you, yar blackos. He's like a little kid saying, "Oh, this is my favorite." Says, "What do you want?"
I've just come to read the meter.
I just came in to read the meter. I love that. That's what I always say. Like if Chris or someone says, "What do you want?" That's what I say to him. You can stick it up your ass.
And no matter what he says, no matter how off color it is, she's like, "Oh, good," Eggy wigs.
Just smash them. Pick them up and throw.
Hey, windmill, and he says the ode in out. Yeah.
Yeah, though, electronic Beethoven. I agree with that. That's
Yeah, and Phil said the movie soundtrack is considered electronic.
yeah, electronic. That's what it. Something like you would hear like in a not a rave or anything like that, but like it's I don't know. It's unique. I like it. I always loved that scene. I always did. Eggy wigs.
And Steaky Wakies or Steaky Wakes. And they told me he was going to have a special visitor.
Yeah.
Something tells me he doesn't want to be left alone with this dude. Windmill, and we're actually watching the film and talking about it as we watch it. And we're in the final scenes right now.
Trying to feed himself without.
Yeah, Windmill, and I would like to be able to stream these movies for everybody to watch with us. Unfortunately, the copyright issue is a problem. So basically, what people do for these watch alongs is everybody that wants to watch the movie as we're talking about it, they watch it on their own.
We do like a countdown or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And as I've discovered, in addition to that, you can't even have the soundtrack playing
No.
for a little bit because you will get not necessarily a copyright strike, but it's like you get a warning.
Yeah. Alex, he just in these scenes, he just reminds me of like a little kid,
Yeah.
from the way he's eating and just the way that he acts.
He reminds me of a baby bird opening his mouth, waiting to be fed.
Oh my gosh.
Ian, you say the film was banned in England, where I am, for many years. I eventually saw a copy of it on video. Yeah, I believe. Yeah, I don't
Is
know.
the video nasty?
That's what I was trying to remember, if it was a video nasty or not. Being as it was banned for a lot of years, probably so.
Yeah.
Phil said this movie got him into electronic music.
Mm.
So this goes back to the political thing, because of what's went on with Alex after his so-called treatment.
Yeah.
It's looked bad on these public officials.
Yeah.
Oh yes, Windmill, and that was something that I had forgotten too. That in the book, Alex was 14,
Mm.
and the movie, the movie obviously portrays Alex as an adult. I don't think it would have went over very well to have him be 14.
Yeah. To me, I always thought he was around like 20 or something, 19, 20. That's what I always figured he was. Maybe not. Maybe older than that.
Well, he was supposed to be in school, so if could have been
17.
possibly he was 18,
Could have
maybe.
been, yeah.
Obviously, I think Malcolm McDowell's a little bit older than that, but oh boy. I'm sorry, you guys and gals. I got Coke. That's what I get for trying to eat chips.
So here they got all this press coming in there and taking pictures of them, and they even brought these big old bouquets of flowers and stuff in there.
So Chris is in here, and he says it wasn't banned in the UK, that Kubrick withdrew the film from circulation, which is interesting. Oh, and Ed says that McDowell's cornea was scratched repeatedly during that treatment scene. So,
Seems like I remember reading that. Whenever I had read that, seems like I remember that. But here you see Alex kind of going into a what do you call that? Like another
yeah, another stream of consciousness or something. Another level.
You see him,
and he says, "I was cured, all right." And then produced and directed by
and then it just ends because that leads you to believe, well, if he's thinking about that and he's not getting sick, then there you go.
And Windmilling says, what stands out to me about this book and movie is the doctors are worse than the criminals. The criminals were shocking, but the doctors were downright evil. And that is something that has come up in conversation about this film.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have to, that's something that definitely crosses my mind when watching this film.
Yeah.
Is who's the worst? Like who is the real savage here?
Because everybody in their own right, has done something not so kosher,
Mm-hmm. Ian says Burgess didn't like the book or the film, but we all did. Yeah, it seems like I had read that Anthony Burgess didn't much care for the book he even wrote, let alone Kubrick's adaptation of it.
Yeah. It's a film, and I'm sure a book as well, for what do you call it? Like it's something that a lot of people might watch at first, because a lot of people that I've tried to show it to, they couldn't get into it. Mm-hmm. It was too much for them, I think. They couldn't get past the violence of it and see it for how I seen it.
Mm-hmm.
But I've had a lot of people also give it a second watch and see it in a different light. It's a movie and a book, I'm sure. Like I've said, I've not read the book, that you just kind of have to go in with an open mind.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah. Because it definitely assaults the senses from the first scene to the ending scene even.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Ed says that it led to copycat attacks in real life. Ooh. Now, I'm not saying that that's not possible, folks, and I don't want to upset anybody, but this is my opinion on it. And I've always, I've worked in libraries for years and everything. So I'm a big proponent of don't ban the films, don't take books out of the library and all that, because in the end, I feel like people are responsible for their own actions. Yeah. And sometimes they try to blame it on books and movies because they think they'll get
Music.
an easier sentence.
Hmm.
Music as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even comic books. I mean,
Yeah.
they had the comics code,
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Judas Priest, the metal band Judas Priest, had to go to court for all this stuff. And I think AC/DC with the Night Stalker. They found like a hat in the garage of one of the people that Richard Ramirez had done what he did too, and it was AC/DC hat. And they kind of looked at that and looked at the lyrics of Night Prowler, their song from the Highway to Hell
Mhm.
album, and kind of looked at that and was like, was this the cause of of this guy going berserk on these people? Because you know it kind of
And
mirrored, I guess, what he was doing.
I think I remember reading part of the book about Richard Ramirez. And
I did, yeah.
during one of the or prior to one of the murders or the attacks on these women, I think it said he was listening to what is it? Shoot to Kill, Candace? Is that the AC/DC song?
Shoot the Thrill
Shoot to
from
Thrill. Yeah, that
yeah,
says shoot to kill, shoot to thrill, and
that's one of my
yeah.
favorite AC/DC songs.
I
One of
mean,
my
I
favorite
like the
lines.
song. I like
Yeah,
many AC/DC songs. But they said that he was listening to that
hmm,
on his way to going to kill or attack these
really.
women.
Now I read Night Stalker. I don't know if there's more than one or anything like that, but that book was really hard to get through.
Very disturbing.
Very disturbing.
I'm pretty sure that's the one I read too, and there could have been others, but I think that's probably the one that most people have read if they've
Yeah.
read a book on Richard Ramirez. Helter Skelter was also a hard one for me to get through.
I rented. I borrowed that one from the library a long time ago. Um, I got maybe a couple chapters in, and I had to return it. I said, I don't know if I can do this or not. But I wish I'd have read that through. It was a hard one, because it goes into detail about stuff, and it's weird too. Just the thoughts and processes that go through these guys' mind and stuff.
And
Um,
if you make the mistake of reading a book like Helter Skelter late at night, and they start talking about cutting screens and doing creepy
yes,
crawls and people's houses, I was like, no, 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 no. I got to
yeah,
stop this. So I got so far in that book. I think it took me 3 tries before I got through
really.
that book. Yeah. And you're talking to a person who watches a lot of horror movies and it has
True
a morbid
crime and stuff.
curiosity for true crime
Yep.
stuff. Um, and some people don't understand that morbid curiosity
No.
for
But you
things
know
like
what? I learned as I got older that there were more people that liked that stuff than I realized. See, whenever I was growing up, my grandpa used to get true detective books.
yeah.
And as a kid, I would take them, I would look at them. He would read them and lay them down on his coffee table or whatever, and I'd get them and I would look at them, and it was just. Do you remember the True Detective books from the late '80s, early '90s, stuff like that?
I do. I do. I don't know that I read any, but I do remember them. I
Man, I would love to find those in my mom's basement because I mean, he had hundreds of them. He
uh,
loved that stuff.
Hey, Windmill, and if you're still in here, he says, "Peace, ladies. Have fun with your hang. Good talking to you. It was good talking
Oh,
to
well, thank
you,
you.
Windmill."
Yes.
And if I ever call somebody that's not a guy, if I say he and you're really a she, please don't take offense because sometimes I can't tell.
I think it just comes out naturally. It's just something.
Yeah. Um, hey, Jason. Jason's a new person here. He says, I like watching crime documentaries like 48 Hours on
Mhm.
YouTube. Yeah.
I do too. I always grew up with Unsolved Mysteries. I think it's just one of those. I even listened to the Unsolved Mysteries podcast. Have you listened to
Yeah,
that, Dana?
I haven't listened to it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, because if you go on like road trips or something like that, it makes the time pass by so quickly. Um, But nothing will ever like replace Robert Stack's voice. That freaked me
No,
out.
that man had a voice made for
Yeah.
stuff like that. I mean,
Whenever I was a kid, I would watch it. I don't know if anybody else did this or not, but he would be like in a like a doorway of some like archway or something. It would be like glowing purple behind him, light, soft purple light, and it'd been real dark. And I would always look. I was like, I would stare in the distance as there's going to be something peeking out. You're a
yeah,
kid.
well, the music for Unsolved Mysteries, I think I've heard other people say this, it always sounded like a dang horror movie was coming on
Yes,
or some scary television show.
it was worse than a horror movie like theme or something like that because this is stuff that's real live.
Yeah. Guys, I love Suspiria, and probably Suspiria is going to be one of the watch alongs coming up for this month because we're having Argento August. So, there's going to be a lot of Argento programming this month. And I'm glad I didn't forget, thanks to Victor reminded me.
Have you ever done a Phenomena watch along, Dana?
I haven't. I don't think I have. I'm getting kind of fuzzy on the ones that I have done. But that one might be a possible one to do. I definitely want to do Deep Red.
Yeah, that's my favorite. Is
I
Phenomena.
definitely want to do those.
Mm-hmm.
But Phenomena would be, and Suspiria would be a definite pairing as well.
If you do Phenomena, I would like to be on that if I'm able.
Okay, yeah. You can be on any of them that you want to.
I know that,
yeah. Jason says Tenebrae's another one of his faves from Argento. Mm-hmm. Yes, and the music by the Goblins is awesome. I actually saw Goblin.
Chris loves Goblin.
I saw the original Goblin band without Simonetti, and I was kind of bummed because I didn't get to see Simonetti play with them, but I think they were going through some issues at that time. But then Simonetti and his new Goblin came to Louisville and played. And so we got to see the whole original Goblin band.
Chris had to miss out on those. He was like, "Oh, Dana gets to see them."
I hate that. I do. I'm laughing, but I do hate it for Chris because I'd be bummed out if I didn't get to go to both.
He was glad that you was getting to go, but he wanted to be there too. I think he was going through some maybe some financial problems or something like that, and it couldn't go. But he's like, "Well, at least somebody gets to go see him."
Yeah, and absolutely both bands or both versions of Goblin were absolutely amazing. And Steve thought he wasn't going to enjoy Simonetti's new version of Goblin because what they did first is they played over, I think it was Suspiria. They played music over Suspiria, and Steve was like, I don't know if I'm going to care for this. But after Suspiria was over, they just jammed.
Oh.
And it was absolutely amazing. Amazing.
See, I'm not into like the Italian horror and stuff. I've not really delved into it. Chris is like you. He's like that's one of his favorite things, but I've just never, it's just something I've never really delved into. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. I guess just different strokes for different folks, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Goblin is an acquired taste.
Now, he loves them. Chris absolutely. Mm-hmm. I mean, he just, he's like you and Steve and stuff. He likes that kind of stuff. So I just never, I don't know. Dana, I'm not, I'm a weird person anyway. I watch what I'm interested in. If people try to get me to watch it and stuff, sometimes I'm like, I don't want to watch that. But,
yeah, that's not my cup of tea.
Well, like with Phenomena, I wouldn't want to watch that.
Right.
But somebody told me, hey, it's got, some pretty cool stuff in it. And I told Chris, I think he was watching it. I said, hey, I've heard some good things about this. I'm going to sit down and watch it with you. And we started watching it. And then as we was getting through there, I was listening to the music and I was like, that's Iron Maiden. And Chris
exactly. I was going to say
that. He was like, wait. That is Iron Maiden. As many times as I've
Yeah,
watched it, I
Iron
didn't realize
Maiden.
that.
If you haven't watched Demons or Demons 2, you need to, because you will hear a lot of bands,
Yeah, yeah,
heavy metal bands in that. I think Motorhead might be
yeah.
in
Well,
that
being
too.
the metal nut that I am, I just absolutely love that, and it really fit the movie. So uh, ever since then, that's been my favorite. But I've seen Suspiria, I've seen, and I like it, and I've seen, but I'm not the I don't know like some people do about it, like the history behind things and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But it's definitely something that as I get older, I get more and more interested in, So who's to say I could become the biggest Italian horror fan in the world, 5 years down the road or something like that.
Well, you ever want suggestions for Italian horror, Candace? I got a bunch of. I'm sure Chris has got a bunch of them
Oh
too.
yeah, he's got them all and stuff. You know how big of a fan that he is,
Oh
you
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of those bands like that, Fabio Frizzi, he was
mhm,
another one that did a lot of music for
yeah.
Italian horror films in particular. And I felt so bad because we had already planned to go to Horror Hound that weekend, that Steve told me that Fabio Frizzi was playing in I think he's going to be in Indy the same
Oh,
weekend as Horror Hound is going to be in Cincinnati.
how far away is
Too far for
too
Steve.
far?
'Cause whenever I told him, I said, Steve, oh man, I want to see Fabio Frizzi too, but I want to meet Robert English.
Yeah, you kind of have to play, scale it out, see which one
And
you
Steve
want to do
was like,
more.
he said, it's okay. He said, yeah, we won't be able to do both of those that
Well,
weekend.
maybe he might come back around though,
Yeah,
Dana. I
I'm
mean,
hoping so. I wish he'd come to Louisville,
yeah, he may.
I mean, Simon Eddie came to Louisville,
Yeah,
so
yeah. Y'all get all the cool bands and stuff. We don't never get nothing done this way.
well, I didn't go to a lot of concerts prior to moving to Louisville and me and
Yeah.
Steve getting married. But then, like, I hadn't been in Louisville very long. We went to see Billy Joel in concert, and since then,
Yeah, I'm still really, really envious of that one because they actually came. I think it was Lexington that they came to. It was Billy Joe and Elton John, and those are my favorites. And they were together. This is while I was in high
oh
school,
wow, that would be
and
amazing.
I absolutely, my teacher, one of my high school teachers went, and she was just bragging about how awesome it was, and she knew that I loved it, and I was wanting to see him so bad. I ended up getting to see Elton John, thank God.
I got to
But
see Elton John. I got to see Paul
I
McCartney
did
in
too. Yeah,
Lexington.
I
We
love
were
to
in
see
the
Ringo,
nosebleed
but
section, but
oh
I still
yeah.
got to see Paul
I
McCartney.
was too. I told Chris because Chris couldn't afford a ticket for himself, and he got it for me for my Mother's Day gift. So he went. It was down in Nashville, so he went and roamed the streets of Nashville while I went and seen Paul McCartney. He's like, I'm so sorry that I couldn't get a ticket for myself too, and come because the tickets were like $300 or $400 and went nosebleeds. And
Yeah.
I said, oh Chris, I don't care if I was hanging from the rafters, just hanging up there by my feet, watching watching him. I don't care if I'm with anybody or not. I said, you've given me like one of my biggest
Mhm.
dreams to get to see Paul McCartney. So,
And
uh,
Steve wasn't real keen on seeing Paul McCartney, but when they did Live and Let Die, Steve's
yeah,
a big James Bond fan,
yeah.
and his ears perked up then when Live
See,
and
I
Let.
don't think of James Bond when I hear Live and Let Die. I think of Guns N' Roses
There you go.
because
That's
they
the
did a
other.
version. They did a version of it, Use Your Illusion, that I love. So,
Mhm.
I
I
don't
think
know.
I've heard that version. It's pretty good.
Oh, I'm a huge Guns N' Roses fan, so I grew up with that song.
Mhm.
I actually knew the Guns N' Roses song before I knew the Wings version.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
yeah.
Ann says, I seem to remember that Evil Dead was Alice Cooper's favorite film.
Really?
That's interesting.
I love
I,
Alice Cooper.
I always wanted to see Alice Cooper in concert, and I think he came to Louisville a few
Have
years
you
back.
never seen him?
I've never seen Alice
Oh my
Cooper.
God, I've seen him 3 times. The first time I seen him, he opened for the Rolling Stones in
Wow.
Churchill Downs,
Uh-huh.
and it wasn't a full show, but then Chris and I got to see him, like, just down the road. He came not to Hazard, but to, a county let's see, he come to Chris's hometown.
Okay.
So, we went and seen him there, and no, it was in Pikeville. That's where he went. That's where it
Like
was.
him.
And it was an actual show. It was like a full show, so I got to see the big set and the
Oh,
guillotine,
cool.
and then we got to see him at Louder and Live, and it was another full show. And if you've never seen Alice Cooper, you have to see him.
I
He
wanted to go so bad. I see you, Ed. Thanks for stopping in.
Yeah, but
Uh,
you'd love it, Dana. He does the guillotine stuff that he's been doing for years and years and years and
yeah,
years. But
right.
to see it live is
Is amazing.
truly,
Yeah.
like, mind-blowing. It looks real when he does it. So, it's really, really neat.
Steve always just like every time I bring Alice Cooper up, I'm like, "Don't you want to go see Alice Cooper, Steve?" No, not really. He's just very flat monotones when he says that. It's like,
Oh, he's an awesome concert, really awesome.
but Steve has, Steve took me to see Rod Stewart for my birthday one year, and
My mama
all I
loves
can
that.
say about Rod Stewart is Rod Stewart still got it. And if you ever get a chance to see Rod Stewart in concert, please do it.
My mama loves
Neil
Stewart.
Diamond. Neil
Oh, I would
Diamond
love
was
that.
a
My
last
mother-in-law would have loved that. She loves Neil Diamond.
and of course Neil Diamond's no longer, touring now due to health issues.
Yeah,
But
like Phil Collins. I know Phil Collins was doing bad, and so it's
yeah,
hard to see your favorite, artist like that
these were
kinda.
people we grew up with, and
Mhm.
you
Yeah,
know, Neil Diamond was fantastic though, and
I
he
say
did
so.
my favorite song of his, "Forever in Blue Jeans." I love
Mhm.
that song.
Yeah.
Absolutely love that
You
song.
remember me doing a video for Chris long time ago when we were, dating, where I sang "Sweet Caroline"?
Yes, I do,
I did
Candace.
the ukulele.
You did a very good job. I do remember
My
that.
grandpa, my mom had told him about that, and they made me go and let him listen to that, and I was so embarrassed I ran outside, and, while he listened to that, but my grandpa never forgot that. He said he absolutely loved it. I know you're biased because you have, that's your grandchild or whatever, but he loved that. He said, "Candace," he said, "that was just hearing that was the best thing ever." He said, "I didn't know you could sing." I said, "Well, Papa, I can't sing."
Yes, you can.
But he liked it. He liked it though, and that was always special. But I love Neil Diamond too. I would like to have seen him.
Mhm. Steve's not a big fan of Neil Diamond. I remember Steve when we got because this was like a last minute thing. For some reason, the Yum Center had discounted tickets, and the
Really?
guys at work, because I was working for the Louisville Free Public Library System in
Uh-huh.
IT at that time, and my boss Greg, he already had tickets and he had floor seats, you
Really?
know. But he said Dana had a better view of Neil Diamond with those discounted tickets than I did with floor
Really?
seats. And we did, like, because he said Neil Diamond spent more time on that part of the stage where Dana had her seat.
You got lucky then, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. I was like, I got a good view of Neil Diamond. It was just fantastic. But,
Mhm.
that's one of those things where I wasn't planning on going, and then lo and behold, I was checking my email at work, and they were like, "We got discounted Neil Diamond tickets."
Wow, that's
And
crazy.
I was like, "Oh my gosh." And I texted Steve, I was like, "I'm getting us Neil Diamond tickets." And he was like, "Huh?" And I said, "I'm getting us Neil Diamond tickets." And he's like, okay, when is this? And I told him, all right, he says, but I just kind of sprung it on him because
Yeah.
we're going. There's
Hey,
no
we're
way
going.
on
No
this.
matter if you
We're
like it or not, we're going to see Neil Diamond. Hey, you
going.
better be glad you went and seen him when you did, though.
But And, but Steve has another special birthday concert he took me to was at the Riverbend Music Center.
Mhm.
Um, and Steve took me to see, it was Hart, Joan Jett, and
Yeah,
Cheap Trick.
Cheap Trick, yeah.
And I
So,
was in heaven with that.
we had tickets to that same concert, in Raleigh, North Carolina, I believe. And when we were ready to go, my sister-in-law had lost her keys to her car, so we were
Oh,
late getting there. When
no.
we pulled up, we heard Cheap Trick had already went on. We heard Joan Jett telling everybody bye, but we got to see Hart.
Got to see Hart. Well,
And
that's a big one, though.
Hart, well, Chris was wanting to see Cheap Trick the most, but we got to see Hart, and that was mind blowing.
Yeah.
And Nancy Wilson, oh my gosh. I'm telling you, they did Stairway to Heaven, Led Zepp's Stairway to Heaven, and I was just like, I was floored. The way that she actually
That's
sounds like
their version is just incredible.
yeah. I mean, she actually sounds like him. You
Mhm.
know, it's wonderful. Such a strong vocalist, and
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. Even though we didn't get to see Joan, which I'm not a huge Joan Jett fan, but I like her, and I love Cheap Trick. So
Oh,
kind of bummed that we didn't get to see them. But Chris has already seen Joan Jett, so he wasn't missing out on anything. But just glad that we got to see Hart though.
yeah. So I've been, thanks to Steve, I've been to a lot of great concerts, and then
Yeah,
some of them Steve was like, "You got me for this one, this one, this one. You're gonna have to find somebody else to go with." Like James Taylor and Bonnie Raitt
yeah,
played together, and my neighbor Kim went with me
yeah.
to see them. But Steve took me to Jackson Brown. I got to
Oh,
see
that'd be
Jackson
cool.
Brown.
Well, my brother would have loved to see because he loves Jackson Brown. Because we were huge Eagles fans, and they kind of ran around with each other and
Mhm.
were housemates and stuff. So he loves Jackson Brown, Doctor My Eyes, and you know what's the
Yeah.
song that's in Fast Times that I love?
Uh,
It's got to be
so
somebody's
got
baby. His baby.
somebody's baby.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. That's a fantastic song.
yeah,
Even though it's Stacy's going with that older guy to have sex.
yeah, yeah,
But I always did like the song though. The song,
yeah.
very good. And I've seen Elton John. I've seen Paul McCartney.
Elton John was one of the greatest concerts I've ever been to in my
Oh
life.
my
I
gosh,
actually floated back home. Me and Chris both, we felt like we were floating back home. And we had like
yeah,
a 2 hour drive back home, but that concert was probably the greatest. And even over Paul McCartney, and you're getting this out of somebody who's the Beatles is their everything. You know, Elton John just really did great. The Eagles was great. I didn't get to see him with Glenn Fry, but I got to see him with,
I wish I had been able to see the Eagles. I have not seen the
amazing.
Eagles in
Mhm.
concert.
Oh, their tickets are so high now you can't see them.
Hmm.
Pay arm and
Yeah, I
leg.
think I looked at some for a concert a few years back. I was like, no,
Yeah, it's really
I
wonderful.
want to, but it's
Yeah,
either you eat and you pay your bills or you go see the
yeah.
Eagles. It's
Yeah.
one of the two.
Ben Hill sang with them,
Oh, okay.
and Glenn Fry's son
Hmm.
was taking his place, and they absolutely did wonderful. It was really great. I've seen Joe Walsh on his own. I got to see him. He opened for Bad Company, who I love Bad Company.
I
Uh,
love Bad Company
yeah.
too. Never seen them in concert
Oh
though.
man, I love him. I love him. Paul Rogers is great. I absolutely love Paul Rogers. Anything that he ever did, even with Queen, I loved him whenever he was. I thought that was a great. Freddie Mercury's never coming back, so to me, Paul Rogers did a good job.
Hmm.
Um, and I love Queen. They're one of my favorite bands. So not really big on current
Hey
guys.
Jack, I have seen Tourist Trap.
Oh, I love Tourist Trap.
I like Tourist Trap. It's a very creepy.
We talk about Tourist Trap a lot, don't we, Dana?
Yes, we do. Um, and Ian says, "I love Billion Dollar Babies. That sleep had loads of notes inside it."
Yes, I have $1 billion babies on vinyl. Yeah.
And Phil says, "First time I saw Alice Cooper was 1978, I think.
Wow. That would have been a
That was
great time to
probably
see.
Alice Cooper in his prime there.
Yeah.
Um, but I hate to. I could sit and talk about
Oh,
movies
yeah.
and music and
Hey.
all that stuff all night. But me and Candace talk about a lot of this same stuff on our Friday Foolish show.
Yes.
So, if you haven't checked out Friday Foolish, it's at
Mhm.
1 p.m. Eastern time, usually every Friday, except this past Friday.
Yeah.
Bless
Oh,
Candace's heart. She had a full agenda lined up that things that she had to do and some things
oh
she
my
wanted to
goodness.
do.
I
And
can't believe I did that.
she got mixed up on her days and thought, "What? Oh, you thought Thursday was Wednesday,
Yes.
right?"
Yes. Hey, it's been a hectic past month for me
Yeah,
and Dana.
fun.
And
Yeah,
I don't barely have time to do anything. So, uh, more of the things than I'd like to not indulge in. It's just been really, I mean, Dana knows, she knows the stuff.
yeah.
But,
And Candace knows the stuff I've been dealing
yeah.
with too. Is
Yeah, it's just it's been a lot, but you know what? You got to keep on trucking. But
yeah.
listen, you like seeing me and Dana together. Come and check us out on Friday Foolish, like she said, like almost every Friday, unless something happens.
Yeah.
At 1 p.m. Eastern time, me and Dana, we always like to chat and talk about all kinds of different things. We got
Oh
a
yeah.
special show coming up here soon. We're not going to talk about that right now or anything like
No,
that.
this gonna be a surprise for y'all.
Yeah, it's gonna be something. You're gonna be seeing something about it here soon. So check us out if you've not, But Dana, she always puts on a lovely show every time that she comes on here, and she really takes care of her channel. She really does. She
I
loves it. She
try.
babies it, and does all that she can to put out quality content. She's very dedicated to her channel. She spends a lot of time, and even just everything that she does with it, she really tries to do the best that she can to give people something, and you're getting it for free unless you want to help support her.
Yep.
She's got Patreon. She's got there's plenty of ways to support her. um and she definitely deserves it, and she doesn't ask for nothing. She never asks anybody to help her. She's genuine, and she's in this to um, you know, kind of fellowship with people that's kind of like her.
That's the
So
big thing. I've always said that I didn't get into this to become rich. I don't think I'm ever going to become rich from it. Uh,
never know.
but I got on here. I created a channel to have fun.
She
That
did.
and share information with like-minded people so we can have these watch-alongs too for movies that I knew a lot of people liked the Clockwork
Mhm.
Orange, but I just wasn't expecting this outpouring of people. So I love it. We've had a lot of new people in here. And
Yes.
even if you weren't chatting, I always say, if you don't feel comfortable coming into the chat, just the fact that you're in here,
Yes.
basically for the duration,
Yeah.
especially for a over 2 hour movie,
Yes.
I think that really says something about
Mhm.
people's interest in,
This
in
has been
the,
a wonderful watch along. I've thoroughly enjoyed myself. I've enjoyed seeing, new people come in here, like Dana said, and just, it's always great to see somebody new. Uh,
Mhm.
and see somebody talking and interacting with other people, and even if you don't do that, because I go into a lot of live streams and stuff just to watch,
Yeah.
but the fact that you're here and you're supporting Dana and you're um giving her a watch, giving her a thumbs up, and don't ever forget to hit that thumbs up, because that helps Dana out too.
Yeah,
um
I didn't know this, but people have told me that it helps the algorithms. It helps you
yeah,
be bumped up in searches and things like
yeah.
that. But Phil says we're going to see psychedelic furs in
Ooh.
October. Ooh, you lucky dog! And then a week later, he's going to see King Diamond.
Oh yeah, Chris would like that now.
Mm. And thank you, Blissful. Blissful says Dana's created a wonderful channel.
Yeah, I
I
have to
appreciate
agree. I do.
And
I really do.
Jack says Kubrick's movies can be hard to watch, but they teach you a lot about humanity.
I
And that's a
agree.
very, very good point to make, Jack. But all good things must come to an end, folks. And I'm going to have to go to the restroom again, as usual. And I'm going to have to check on my apple butter and see how it's thickening
Do,
up.
Dana. That sounds good.
I've been tasting it. It tastes pretty good. For
Yeah.
my first batch of apple butter ever, it tastes pretty good.
Are you going to can it or just keep it, just a
I'm
little
just
bit?
gonna keep it and use it for as long as it stays good. I may see if my neighbor wants a quart of it, and I'll take it over to her.
Well, if you make any around Horror Hound, you can bring me a little bit. I wouldn't turn it down.
Yeah, I'll try to. I'll try to see if I can make some closer to the Horror Hound.
Before we get off of here, since we're talking about apple, have you ever ate apple butter cake?
I have not, but it sounds delicious.
It's layered on top of each other with apple butter in between each. It's applesauce cake, some people call it.
Oh
Look
wow!
it up, Dana. It is divine.
It's making me hungry. It's making my mouth water just thinking about it. Um, okay, I may call you Nigel. It's nice to meet you too, Nigel, and I hope you
Yes.
return.
Yes, please
You know,
do.
all the other new people that we've seen here. I hope you guys will come back and see what other content I've got out.
Hey, me and Dana's got a lot coming up. We're in the works of stuff. We got some, waiting on Woodstock. She's got another channel that me and her are working on. If you enjoy like the '60s music scene, Woodstock, the fashion, the art, all that good stuff, we're going to be covering even the true crime aspect
Yeah,
of
we're
it.
going to be dipping
So
into all of that.
go ahead and give us a follow over there, and we promise it's coming soon.
Yeah, we just got to get it worked out a time when
Yeah.
we can start doing content. And also, me and Steve have started another channel. We watch movies
Yes.
where I've got to get. Maybe I'll bug Steve and say, hey, we need to do another We Watch Movies, where usually every 2 weeks we will talk about the movies that both of us have watched in the
Mhm.
last 2 weeks. So that's always fun. I love getting a chance to sit down with my husband and talk movies. I love talking movies with anybody, but there's something special about sitting down with your spouse.
Yeah.
And if you and your spouse share a lot of the same interests, it's just fun.
It
Me and
is.
me and Steve used to do a lot of commentaries that are a lot like these watch alongs that me and Candace did tonight. In that, and Steve would crack me up with some of those. Some of those, if I was eating or drinking anything, I better beware because Steve would come out with something and I just, I just couldn't help it. Some of those commentaries, um, I need to like get some of those together, put together. It will be audio only. Sorry, folks, because YouTube won't let me put the movie with it. Even if it didn't have the audio, they still
Yeah.
wouldn't let me do
Yeah.
that. So,
Hey, but they're good to watch. If you're cleaning the house, if you're driving down the road and you want to just throw something on there you go.
so I need to do that at some point. I just haven't got around to it. And check out me and Steve's Highway to Hell's that we've done,
Yeah, I
where
enjoy
we went
those.
to movies. I've got a lot of pre-recorded stuff. Um, so you say you need my links to drop. Well, let me go ahead and put the Waiting on Woodstock link in here and the We Watch Movies as well. Just give me 1 second here.
Listen, if you've not checked Dana's channel out, give it a deep dive. She's got so much. I mean, she's covered if you're into horror and even more than just horror. Um there's so much that she's got. Go look into her library. She's got anything that you possibly could ever want. Hey, me and her did a Hard Day's Night watch along. If you're into the Beatles, or I think she did like a Mystic Pizza watch along. A lot of watch alongs, a
Yep.
lot of just different types of shows. That's the thing that Dana does. She brings a lot of programming with different types of shows and stuff. So a lot of reviews, a lot of debates, even. So give her stuff a deep dive. You're going to find something that you enjoy.
And Blissful just put the Death by Stereo podcast link up, so I'll let Candace talk about that because that's her venture.
Well, me and my husband Chris, we do this podcast called, or not really just a podcast. We do have it via podcast too on Spotify podcast. But we do video versions of it as well. And we have a couple of different shows. We actually have put a halt to it right now because we got some stuff going on. We just don't have time to do it right now. But we are planning to come back on it. We have a couple different shows. We have one where we cover, television series. We're currently doing the Munsters. We're in the middle of that. And when we pick it back up, that's where we're going to, just kind of pick it back up where we left off. And then we have another show where we take music videos that are inspired by horror, like they're horror inspired videos, but the music does not match that. Like it's totally, you would never think that that with that song, the music video would be a horror based music video. So we got that, and we got a couple more things that we're wanting to do. So thank you for dropping that, Blissful. I appreciate that. If you do want to give us a follow, we will, pick it back up whenever we get the chance.
Yeah, things settle down a little bit for Candace.
We got a lot going on, but a lot of people's got a lot going on. But I think with right now, it's best for us to just kind of put it on the halt. But it's not going to be forever.
But I guess we'll tie this thing up with a neat little bow. I just want to thank everybody for all their continued support of not only my stuff, but Candace and Chris's stuff, and her brother is on there as well with them from time to time. And I was on there with them for Mary Jane's Last Dance, the Tom Petty song, and had a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's a fantastic video. We want to get Candace to do the oh shoot, what's the one that freaks you out, Candace?
Oh gosh, I don't even want to.
It totally slipped out of my mind.
It's I only like thinking about it. I can't even remember what it's called. It slipped my mind too. My gosh, Dana. I don't ever listen to it because whenever it comes on, it makes me kind of like how Alex gets sick whenever he listens to Beethoven's Ninth. That's what I feel whenever I hear this Tom Petty song because it scared me so much as a kid. The video did. Mm-hmm. My gosh, Dana, I can't remember what it's called now.
But it's got the Alice in Wonderland stuff.
Yeah, I can look it up, but.
Yeah, we'll let Candace look it up, but we don't want her to see it right now because she might.
Don't come around here no more.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Okay. I ought to know that one.
Which is one of the most benign songs.
Yeah.
But that video is bizarre, to say the least.
It is.
But I guess we're gonna call it a night here. We've been on here a little over 3 hours. This was a fun one. This one's going to go down the books as one of the ones I remember as being a lot of fun. But be sure to tune in if you can't get enough of these watch-alongs. Tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time will be John Landis's An American Werewolf in London. And
Good
so
one.
So if you're a big fan of that, be sure to tune in.
I'll try to stop by that one. If I'm not gonna make no promises, but if I can, I definitely want to be there for that. And I love that movie.
I think Chris may be on here with me for that one. I'm gonna send him the link. Hopefully he can. Thank you, Blissful, for saying it was a great live. And I agree, the chat was awesome tonight. Um,
Yeah.
and on that note, me and Candace are off like a dirty shirt, and my shirt has indeed gotten dirty today because I've been cooking. And thank you, Ron Johnson. And Ron Johnson is actually a reference to Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Ron Johnson was the guy that Stacy has her first sexual experience with. So, hi, Ron Johnson. But anyway, before we get off here, I want to remind everybody, as I always do, to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. Have a fantastic rest of your Saturday, folks. And let's make Sunday special as well, because we have to, right? Because Monday starts the beginning of
Oh
the
yeah.
work week for many of us. So we're going to get out of here, but me and Candace will see everybody next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.